Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Community Spotlight. If you enjoyed this Frost Fatales that just happened later this month, Frame Fatale's Game of the Month celebration will be starting March 26th on Oddfix. You should definitely tune in for that. It's going to be a lot of fun. But we have Nuclear Reaction here today, who's going to be running in a special variant of Ocarina of Time Randomizer that I haven't heard of before. But we'll get into that once the run starts. And just quick other few announcements for Hotfix. If you're watching on YouTube, you can go to twitch.tv/GamesDoneQuick if you're interested in looking at our live content. We start weeknights at 7 p.m. Eastern and weekends at 1 p.m. Eastern. And of course, if you have an idea for your own show or one-off event, you can go to GamesDoneQuick.com/Hotfix to submit your ideas. And there's also a form there, the open submission form in the bottom left, where you can let us know games that you would like to run on Hotfix. But tonight we've got Nuclear Reaction here. She's going to be sharing Ocarina of Time with us. How you doing, Nukes?
Doing good.
I know it's been so long since you've been on the show.
I know,
I
haven't, talked on
maybe
Hotfix for a while. I've been missing it.
But it is a little bit different this time because now, instead of sitting in the host chair, you're now the runner.
Yes.
And we playing Zooter with us. And of course, I do have to call out that Nukes also participates in another Ocarina of Time randomizer show called Ocarina Improv every other Friday at 10 p.m. Eastern, where Nukes and company go over Ocarina of Time randomizer from a beginner perspective, talking about things that may not get mentioned in typical Zooter commentary because it's considered very introductory. And it's very good if you're looking to get into Zooter and you just don't know where to start.
Yeah, there's a lot of basics, and we cover in the show kind of how to do a lot of those basics and really deep dive into it. So I definitely suggest checking that out. That will be on this coming Friday, so pencil that in your schedule. There's also a lot of great VODs for our previous shows on the Games Done Quick YouTube channel. So if you want to check those out before Friday, you also can do so there.
But I think we were going to talk about what this version of Randomizer is once we get started. So when you're ready, why don't you just give us the countdown and we'll start talking about, what's going on here today.
Yeah, we can get started in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. All right, so this is kind of inspired from I've had this on GDQ before. Let me just grab these real quick this is very important information that will help me go faster. So this is just our hint stones that are going to tell me which areas have important items, maybe which areas don't need to be checked. So very, very good to grab that in the beginning here. So we know that Graveyard is path to beating Volvagia. Gerudo Fortress is path to beating Dodongo's Cavern. But yeah, this category is inspired by almost a year ago. Good acquaintance of mine, Spike Vegeta. He came up with what was deemed the Blitz Tourney. And essentially that was just like to make a lot of this Ocarina of Time randomizer tournaments go very, very long. They're just long runs. And he wanted to make it's just a quick little weekend tournament. That's where 5 dungeon Ocarina of Time was born, where the goal was to beat any 5 dungeons, which will spawn the bridge to Ganon's castle. You go up there and you get Ganon. This is a variant of that, where all the dungeon entrances are shuffled. Oh. So we'll be checking some of those out soon here. But for instance, I could enter Dodongo's Cavern and it's our spirit temple. So you never know what you're gonna get.
So how does that work with dungeons like Spirit Temple that have more than one entrance?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So those dungeons are always going to be in a place where you can enter in as child. A couple of the entrances have been changed for this category when you put on entrance shuffle for dungeons. So for instance, Fire Temple can be accessed. Normally there's boulders in front of Fire Temple. as a child, but you'll be able to play Bolero and go in there as a child. Additionally, dungeons like Deku Tree, normally the Deku Tree dies and you can't go in there as an adult. However, once you open up that entrance, that will be available for you as an adult as well. So just to make there be a little bit more freedom for where your dungeons may be located. But beginning of the run here, you're going to see me just kind of going and doing a lot of these what we call Sphere Zero checks, which are checks we can get right away. We don't need any items to get. Grabbing songs, because songs are important for us getting around and doing checks in the game, as well as accessing certain dungeons. And we're going to be popping in and out of dungeons, just kind of noting what they are, so that we know where to go eventually.
Yeah, I was going to ask, does that create like more scouting in this type of a seed where you got to just gather more information before you can really build what you think your route's going to be?
Yeah, that's going to be a big part of, I'd say, like the first like maybe 45 minutes or so is just a lot of scouting, getting early checks, building that foundation of information and hopefully items so that you can really delve into the dungeons. A neat thing that we have with these settings that I'm using today is the light arrows. There's actually 2 sets of light arrows. Normally there's only 1. But with these settings, there's one randomly hidden somewhere in the seed. And then the other one is always going to be on your light arrow cutscene, which is located in the Temple of Time. And that's going to trigger when you beat a 6th dungeon. So you either beat 5 dungeons or you beat an additional 6th one to get your light arrows.
Interesting.
What is that? Our boomerang? That's our boomerang. Okay.
The other important question is, because it is you, are eye straps on?
You know what? They might not be. The person who gen this for me, I don't think turned on ice traps. So this is gonna be a warmer seed. That's why I keep running into the fire. Yeah, no ice. And I also I know I normally play with cows on when I've been on GDQ. I turn those off as well just to make sure we have some good consistency here. A little less variance just for the showcase purpose. Because with the dungeon entrance shuffle, that can definitely create, again, as I said, there's going to be a lot of time spent like just checking what dungeons are where. We are getting hecked here. So having to cut down on some of that extra time just for the showcase purpose is not a bad idea.
Yeah, I had to ask because I know you were generally an ice trap enjoyer.
Yes. It's good stream value. Ooh! All right, nice. That's a very good find. Those of you familiar with Ocarina of Time Randomizer at all, getting any type of explosives or hook shot are super important. So although we don't have explosives, that hammer is going to be super valuable for us getting checks and getting through dungeons here.
Yeah, hammer lets you do some things that might normally be locked behind explosives, correct?
Yes. Yeah, so hammer doesn't take care of all explosive checks, but it does let you access majority of them. Be able to grab
like just
a couple
walking
more
around
checks.
Town, pounding the ground with a hammer.
No big deal. I mean, there's weirder things, right? Like, there's zombies in this hole, so
it's probably more normal than dropping a bomb in the middle of town if we're honest.
Yeah, right? I don't know. That, yeah, probably would raise less eyebrows. Just some people would probably be like, all right. All right, sir. So we'll go check our first dungeon up here. See what's inside Dodongo's cavern.
All right, chat, what do you think Dodongo's is going to be?
I I'm telling you, I did give the example that Dodongos might be spirit, and I've had so many of these where Dodongos is spirit, so that's gonna be my guess, is that we'll find Spirit Temple in here.
I'm feeling forest. I don't know why.
Forest. Right, let's see. We've got GTG.
Oh, okay.
All right. I'm just gonna note that that's in here, and we're gonna just carry on. There's not really much I can do in GTG right now, and rather go get better information, maybe dungeons that we can complete.
It didn't even occur to me that Gerudo Training Ground would be flagged as a dungeon.
Yes.
But now that it's happened, it makes sense, That's a good thing to note, that I didn't touch on, is that also those side dungeons are in the shuffle, but those are not flags for our dungeons to get to Ganon's castle. So only dungeons that give you a medallion or a stone will count towards that, but the mini dungeons are also shuffled, and those have a lot of checks in them. So I heard a stray Mweep. Do we have a Navi randomized to be Mweep?
Potential. Those weird sounds I don't even think about them anymore, but that might be what it is.
I'm a big fan if that is the case. So that would mean stuff like Ice Cavern is also shuffled in there?
Yes.
Ooh,
all right,
strength.
We got our first strength. That's not bad to see there. We also got a hint that there's a strength on Big Pose. I think we'll go ahead and warp here. As I said, songs are really important. We won't be able to go into Forest Temple right now, but we'll get another song and we can go pop into Deku Tree. Well,
when it comes to these showcase of randomizers, when you get very generous things early, I tend to get worried, especially when it's like a seed somebody generated, because they're like, this is a 3-hour seed, and then it starts giving you a lot of generous stuff at the start, and you're like, oh no, what does that mean?
Yeah, that's I always say on my stream when that starts happening that the seed has put there's I'm going to be looking for light arrows for an hour at the end. But thankfully, again, with these settings, we won't have that problem, but magic can always be troubling.
Someone in chat is asking if there's any special settings for pose. What do you have set there, since you mentioned it on a hint?
Yeah, so pose, how they work in, for the most part, people who play Ocarina of Time Randomizer will run just one big po, because that check is very, very tedious otherwise. So we will just have to get one big po to turn that in.
So that's not too bad. You just need a model for that.
Yeah. And I did also turn off 40 and 50 Skulltulas, just for showcase purposes, because I personally feel that sometimes watching someone run around and just collect skull after skull after skull isn't the most exciting. I like to turn those off for GDQ. But otherwise, all your other regular checks should be turned on, unless I'm forgetting anything.
Yeah, it's interesting. You got the Forest Temple is foolish in these settings because you don't know where Forest Temple is, for one. But it also introduces the idea that even a foolish dungeon, depending on where you find items, might be a choice for a 5th dungeon clear to end the seed in some situations, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so you're kind of hoping that Forest doesn't become one of the dungeons we do, since we know there's nothing in there, but Forest always finds a way.
Yeah.
The cool thing about these 5 dungeon seeds, whether or not you have the entrance rando part on, is that it gives you freedom to kind of choose maybe a dungeon over the other. A lot of times when you maybe watch Ocarina of Time Randomizer, it's you have to do all the medallions, and it's, you have to do a certain set of dungeons with that. But we get the freedom here to, be like, I have a choice between Forest and Deku Tree for my last dungeon. I'm gonna go do Deku Tree. So there is that aspect. And I think that's cool, like, kind of competitively, too, if you think about it, because you can, like, take a gamble maybe with, like, Fire Temple. Maybe you'll get an early boss key there. All right, here we go. Next dungeon we've got in here, Spirit Temple, which unfortunately I cannot do anything in here right now as an adult without our silver gauntlets, so...
So does that mean for certain that Child Spirit Temple is also in Forest Temple, or is it just another child entrances, Child Spirit Temple?
That means that for sure, yeah, as a child, when you enter Deku Tree, that's where your Spirit Temple will be.
Okay.
Okay, so we did get Deku Tree Horde's magic. Link, can you... Normally he rolls over there, no problem, and I don't know why he just got stuck today.
Link's just having a day. Also, I'm pretty sure that Navi is the Weep. I think, after hearing it enough times.
It's a good Navi noise. All right. That's important to know. Because that Epona, that Big Poe that we got, that information we got earlier about the Big Poe.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that's true.
See here, not much else I can do right now as an adult, so we're gonna go ahead and go back child. Hopefully get some good songs. Warp songs are really important with this category because we don't know where our dungeons are. Additionally, we have Song of Storms, so we need to be a child to open up Bottom of the Well. So we have that. We started with Song of Storms, the seed. So we're gonna go child, open that up, and grab a couple of songs there.
So what was the song there when you walked in the Temple of Time?
That is Song of Time. So not a super valuable song that does help us out in GTG, but not really super useful, unfortunately. That's like the biggest part in the vanilla game is like for that is opening your door at time to go adult. But since we start with that open here in Ocarina of Time Randomizer, it's not really a big deal.
Yeah, it's kind of a funny thing to have there.
All right, get some checks over here. All right. Probably the most nerve-wracking part of this run for me are those shooting galleries.
Really? Okay.
Believe it or not. It's sometimes those red rupees at the end. I've done those so many times, and sometimes they still are tricky. And
yeah,
you miss that, then you'll waste a whole bunch of time.
Yeah, sometimes it's the stuff that's seemed trivial because then you stop paying attention and then you miss it up because you're not paying attention. So that makes sense.
All right, again, just gonna spend some time here to get the hint stones. It's super valuable knowing those like barren locations and Path of the Hero locations. So we can kind of narrow down how we're gonna route later on as we go on here.
So how does Path of Hero work in 5 dungeon mode? Is that just stuff that's required to beat Ganon at that point?
It will kind of, yeah, so like we got there, Gerudo Fortress's Path of Dodongo. So we know that Gerudo Fortress has something that's gonna help us beat Dodongo's Cavern. One of the checks there. And that kind of implies to us that the game probably wants us to beat Dodongo's Cavern with that hint. So it's not necessarily what... It's kind of complicated because if you go out of logic like we do a lot of the time in these, you might be able to beat other dungeons that the game doesn't think you're going to beat, but... kind of what it's like, yeah, you're probably going to be doing this dungeon here today. All right, that's not bad.
It's always better to find that one early than like right at the end of the seed.
Yeah.
Finding Kokiri Sword in Ganon's Tower seems to be the classic.
Hello? Inputs? Okay. Sometimes the game's like, meh, input.
Game's just not feeling it today.
All right, hoping we'll see a good dungeon in Bottom of the Well, to be honest.
What are dungeons you'd like to see early for this type of a setup? Like ones you can clear without too many resources?
Yeah, so like seeing Deku Tree is a good one. Dodongo's Cavern, those are the two that you're like, those are quick dungeons. You are probably going to be able to beat them no matter what. I honestly, as much crap as I give Forest Temple and knowing that it's barren, I'm certain I'll be able to beat it at some point. So like finding Forest isn't the worst for that reason.
Yeah, just Forest
Jabu
is
Jabu
long, right?
can be good to find because you only need a boomerang potentially to beat Jabu Jabu.
Yeah, the dislike of Forest Temple is just because there's so much stuff that's required that you can't skip to get to the boss.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah, it's definitely, we kind of refer to that as like the sleepy dungeon because it's very linear. You have to go and do kind of all the things in there. Unlike some of the other dungeons where you might be able to skip part of it or, get the boss key early. Like Fire Temple is a great example of that, where Fire Temple, you always have access to the boss door. You just have to find the boss key, and sometimes you'll get it right away, and you won't have to think about the rest of the dungeon. Which, again, is really great in these settings, because I kind of want to do as little of the dungeons as possible.
Finding a bottle hint seems nice, given that you already know something on pose. I don't remember what your Poe hint was, but...
Yeah, we do... I believe I got a bottle, right? Yeah, I got a bottle already, so...
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, we're not gonna go collect Kukos. That takes, that's like 2 minutes. That bottle will just stay with Anju. You can keep it.
I just saw a hint for a bottle and knew that you were talking about the Poe hint earlier, so... Didn't realize you already found one.
Yeah. Oh, but that was a good catch. Alright, gonna play Song of Storms with these little guys.
I like their wiggle.
They're jamming.
Got any bobblers in chat?
They were so close to Song of Storms. Right.
Just the random Navi weeps keep cracking me up. I know you're probably used to it at this point.
Yeah,
but I love
it's
it.
so funny. I think last time I was on your show, Ray, and that was happening, you kept cracking up about the random noises, and I'm just like sitting there completely unfazed because this is my daily life.
There we go.
Probably
There's the
should
bobbles in
equip
chat.
that sword. All right.
I have a question for chat. Where does chat think Greg is hiding today? Because I know Greg is very important in the Zooter.
It's important to chat.
You're not always happy when you find Greg,
No.
but chat loves it.
I got shamed the other day. I left Greg. I saw Greg and I left Greg behind.
Oh, you didn't pick up Greg.
No, that was gonna waste time. Save the frames.
I'm
Kill
sure chat
Greg.
was very upset.
All right. Yeah, so starting off here, we've gotten like a couple of items, but nothing super juicy, nothing that we can beat any dungeons that we can currently enter.
Okay, so a few people in chat are asking what Greg is, which is fair. We don't have the regular Ocarina of Time randomizer viewers here. So you want to give the breakdown on Greg?
So there is 1 green rupee in this game. And so 1 check will be that singular green rupee that is a check. And when I say there's 1 green rupee, I mean there's 1 as a check, to clarify, because there's
like one
obviously
that was
more.
randomized to the pool.
Yeah, so only 1 randomized one. And that's lovingly referred to as Greg, which I always forget what the exact... I want to say Greg stands for Green Rupee of Eternal Glory.
That is what chat is saying, yes.
Okay, all right. Well, that's the lore there. And Greg is useless. Everyone claims that Greg blesses the run, but...
Yeah, I feel like people either love Greg or hate Greg, and there's nothing in between.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I get shamed a lot on my channel for some of my Zooter takes, such as buying a shield. First thing I did was buy a shield this seed, so, you know. It do be what it do be.
We've had a lot of bloopies so far.
Yeah, those, that's what happens when you turn off ice traps, Ray.
Oh, fair. I guess a lot of those do get replaced with ice traps, yeah.
Yeah. I, by default, usually play with ice traps, but, kind of like the standard for tournaments is no ice traps. So the person who gen this for me kind of went with that in mind, and I totally didn't even think to be like, yeah, turn on ice traps for this.
It's so weird because we got nukes playing Ocarina of Time randomizer, and we don't have ice traps.
No ice traps, no cows. Yeah.
Another question we've been getting in chat a bunch is, are chest size matches contents on? I believe you said that was off.
That is off, yes.
Which
Yeah,
for
that
people
is
not
like
familiar-
the standard season 5 setting. As kind of, again, these settings are kind of derived from the Blitz tourney, which was before this chest size matches contents was really a thing in tournaments, so. All right, I was going to not come over here, so I'm glad I did, because hover boots definitely can come in handy. Death Mountain Trail.
So at a certain point, you're going to find a dungeon you can complete. That
Yes.
is required here.
Yes, we will.
It seems like, how common is this that you'd go through this much and you have not found a dungeon you can do anything in?
I mean, as I said, like, kind of the beginning of this tends to be a lot of scouting. It's kind of unfortunate we haven't really gotten too many, like, what I'd call, like, your, like, big items here quite yet. Like, strength is definitely good. Hammer's really good. But But like kind of when you're looking for here is bombs or hook shot. Hook shot's really actually very powerful in these settings because you actually need a hook shot to access a number of dungeons. But now that we have hovers, we can get into the Fire Temple entrance as an adult. So that's good. And as I mentioned earlier, we need to go play Song of Storms as a child in Kakariko so that we can open up Bottom of the Well. So our main focus right now is, just kind of opening dungeons, cracking them open and getting in there. Getting songs that maybe will give us access to dungeons as well. Once we have those basics, you kind of hope at some point you just kind of go bam, bam, bam into dungeon mode. I feel like a lot of the times with the 5 dungeon settings, you'll just be all of a sudden like, oh, I can defeat 5 dungeons. Okay, let's go. So, unfortunately, it looks like I might not make this day-night cycle, which is not good. I need to get into Lon Lon during the day so that I can get the opponent song check. So because I know I probably won't get there in time, we're gonna go ahead. There's hint stones located around Lake Hylia, and they're a little bit out of the way, but go ahead and spend our free time to read those. Ooh, okay, well that's information I really want to know. Ruto's letter is located on Skull Mask. Again, that's a dungeon that's an item that lets us into a dungeon, so. Which I feel like, unfortunately, Jabu Jabu tends to be like bottom of the well, or Jabu Jabu itself, so. May or may not be something we want to go into, but.
Is that just because there's less child dungeons to randomize?
Yeah, so that's, the thing is that Jabu, so there's like some caveats with dungeons as we graced on like how they made some changes, but like things like Jabu Jabu entrance is only accessible as a child, no matter what in this. And Ice Cavern is only accessible as an adult. So that some of those entrances become more limited due to that. So, then there's dungeons that you can only beat as a child or maybe as an adult. So like Jabu Jabu is a dungeon. You need to be able to use the boomerang. So it assumes you know, I know there are definitely glitchies out there that let you do weird things with your items, but how we approach Ocarina of Time Randomizer is usually pretty glitchless, pretty low on glitches here. Kind of in the spirit of what Randomizer is, and that assumes that you're going to need to be in Jabu Jabu as a child then to complete it.
Especially with Ocarina of Time, if you were doing it with full glitches, it kind of removes a lot of the point of randomizing it.
Yeah, that's what I always like when people ask about that. Like, it's definitely something you can do. Most people will not. There is like no logic Ocarina of Time. That's a setting you can do. But most people don't run it that way. You might see someone like ZFG is really the only person that I've seen run that, and even he doesn't do it that often.
On the show do that once before, and then managed to roll one of the like 5% seeds where it actually did lock itself.
Yeah, that's the risk with that.
Because even when you got somebody like Gymnast or ZFG who just knows so much about all the different glitches in the games, there are certain situations where you can get locked out of completing the seed. And then you wound up doing a weird wrong warp to get to the Cannon's Tower.
Yeah. So that's the thing with I have people come to my stream all the time and ask, "Is this logic? Is this logic?" And I have to kind of explain, that you have to know like quite an array of glitches to do no logic Ocarina of Time Randomizer, and even then you can still get seeds that are unbeatable. So it's a neat thing if you're somebody like Gymnast or ZFG who really knows this game inside and out in terms of like glitches and such, but But that's a really good song that we found there that will give us another dungeon to check. We're just gonna go ahead to the back of Lon Lon, peek at what's back here, and then we'll warp out to the desert and see what's in Spirit Temple.
Yeah, speaking of other hotfix shows, since, Nuclear Reaction is a showrunner on hotfix, we did have an episode with ZFG on That's Never Happened Before, where ZFG spent, it was something like 4 hours just going through different glitches in this game and how it works. Just like breaking down the science of OOT, and it was incredible.
Yeah,
if that's something that interests you, it's on our YouTube.
This game is just... I learn something new all the time. And I don't even do I don't even really dive into that realm of OOT. But it's really incredible. All the layers this game has.
Yeah, I feel like even if you're just playing Randomizer, not diving too hard into glitches, you can just run into weird situations. Just playing Randomizer and be like, I've never seen that before. And then somebody will be like, oh yeah, that's a glitch. That just happens. And then it opens up a rabbit hole of, well, this is why it happens. And you're like, oh my goodness, that's so much information.
All right, so we just found, there's our forest temple, which, as I said, we'll probably end up doing. We'll put it off for a while, but if we get to the point where it's like, oh, we have 5 dungeons we can do and forest is one of them, that's kind of when we'll come here. Got our ZL, which means we can get Eponas. I'm just gonna save scum this chew here, which is a tactic we do when we don't have explosives. So I can check this, see if it's anything important. If not, we'll reset. And we're gonna go to Kakariko, open up the well, get our Epona song, and then we'll probably head back adult. Slingshot. Well, yeah, I'll keep that.
It's important enough in case you wind up having to do... Is there anything that's locked behind Slingshot? Is it just Deku Tree?
So, logically, Deku Tree is locked behind it. We completely skip that. But it also helps here with Spirit Temple. Since I don't have a boomerang yet, I can use that to hit a switch in Spirit Temple and progress in there on the child side. Which is something I will go ahead and be doing here. And it locks, the one check it completely locks is target in the woods. There's really only one thing in the game that is completely locked. You can't get around it any other way. It's that check in Lost Woods where you hit the target. That's really it. And although I triggered that pot, I'm not gonna check it right now. Just wanted to turn that on. We got better things to do than try to, you can use strength to grab like a plant bomb, but like the timing is really finicky and annoying. We're not gonna worry about that. I don't remember, for some reason I don't remember if I checked this or not, so. No, I didn't.
I don't believe you did.
Treasure game is nothing. Good to know.
Which is unfortunate given that you actually found the Lens of Truth.
Yeah. Which for me is the only use for that item.
If that was a good item, you'd be like, we have the lens, we can do that real quick.
So we'll go ahead. Whoop. Oh, okay. That was wonky.
It's one of those
I've never
things where
thrown it like that before, but okay.
It looked like it bounced off the stick in front of you just right.
Yeah,
I didn't even know it could happen.
I don't know. Ocarina of Time is a game that was made in 1998, you know?
I thought you were just going to say it's a game, which is also true.
It's also true, but also, on top of that, this is not where I thought I was going. Spirit Temple is in the Deku Tree. See, already flip-flop flooped around. Okay. It's fine.
How many notes do you take when you're doing Randomizer? Like, because you're looking at a lot of hit stones. Do you just try to remember that? Do you write it down?
I have a whole notepad open during these. That's kind of like pre-filled out.
Oh, okay. So you just have like values you can fill in, like.
Yeah, so I put for like this, I list all of my vanilla dungeons and I'll put what is in each entrance for those. I have a section for all my Path of the Hero hints, a section for all my Baron hints, and then there's hints that we call always hints. That if that check is turned on, that hint is always going to be somewhere. So like 40 and 50 skulls, what's on your OOT song, what's on Skull Mask, those are going to be your always hints. So I have sections for those and then miscellaneous hints. So
is finding magic
thing.
one of those always hints as well?
It's so under these settings it actually is for the Blitz settings.
Okay.
Because that can be one of your, so magic and lights are your two, you always need those to defeat Ganon. But those can sometimes be your items that you might be struggling to find at the end, and it becomes a needle in the haystack search for magic. So,
yeah.
All right, that's Jabu. So we know that the boomerang is in the graveyard, and I have to plant a bean for that. So we need to go get a bean, plant that. I have to kind of do a little back and forth here, unfortunately, but
Well, that's one dungeon at least.
that should be one dungeon we'll be able to complete there. Yes. Good to see. But that's fine. We're going to be kind of doing quite a bit here. Unfortunately, I need to come over here and get Dompe right now since my time of day is good for Dompe and we might not get an opportunity for a while. Well, I earned that. All right.
It's one of those funny ones where it's like, is this even randomized? But there's so many heart pieces in the pool. It's
Yeah.
somewhat common, I would assume.
Yeah. I'm gonna take the call and ignore my Skulltulas because I know that 40 and 50 are turned off. I got a hint that 30 Skulltulas is a piece of heart, so we won't need that. So the max we'll need is 20 this seed. I'm not gonna sweat it too much.
So that you're pretty confident that if 20 is something important, that's just stuff you can get along the way doing other things.
Yeah, that's I know like when we go through dungeons, there'll be a lot on the way. We can just kind of grab those. We can take our time grabbing those. We have enough going on right now. But, like I'll take the time to grab this because I know it's gonna be right here, not too far out of my way. Gotta go grab some beans. But we did get a hint that Zora's River is barren, so we'll thankfully get to kind of bypass a majority of this here. All right, 3 beans is probably the max we'll need. Gonna go ahead and detour up to Zora's Domain so that we can go ahead and... I don't have Rudo's letters yet. I don't have Rudo's letter yet. I got the hint for it. This is Sleepy Nuke's o'clock.
If you picked that up.
That was a hint I read, but a thing I haven't grabbed yet. We're gonna hit the detour. A little bit of
that feels like something
here.
I would do a lot because, you know, thinking about like what my routing is going to be, like, okay, I'm going to do this and then this, and I'm going to get the letter. And then like 5 minutes later, it's like, okay, yeah, we're just thinking about the letter, so that means we've got the letter, so let's go do Zora's Domain.
Yep.
It's like, wait a minute, we don't have it yet.
So I was like, yeah, Jabu Jabu, and this and that, and yeah, okay. Nope, not the case. That's when things get definitely, you know, when you start putting things like entrance randos on, you definitely start getting a lot more discombobulated throughout your run.
Yeah, and I know there's a version you can turn on where, like, full entrance randomizer, and I do not understand how people can process that in their brain.
So I'll do sometimes not only that, Ray, but there's decoupled entrance random.
Oh no, so it's not a two-way exit?
So it's not you'll enter, you'll leave one screen, and if you turn back around, it won't take you to the screen you just came from.
My brain would literally melt, Nukes. I do not understand.
I literally draw out a map. Like, I get a piece of paper and draw out a map for that. It's something.
So if you want to see Nuclear Reaction do wacky randomizers on her stream, you should give her a follow.
Yeah, this is only the bread and butter of my channel. So if you're enjoying this content, I pretty much main Ocarina of Time randomizer. I've dipped into Paper Mario Rando, which is new.
Yes,
I'm enjoying that.
You've branched out a little bit recently.
Wind Waker Rando, I've been dipping my feet into as well. But right now, I just actually started an event for the rest of the month with a good friend, Skybills. He's also a fellow showrunner here on the Hotfix shows. And her and I are doing a month-long event where we're racing each other in different, mostly retro games. So a lot of good content, though. I definitely would love to see y'all over on my channel.
So you picked up the mask. I assume that's to get Skull Mask on Trading Quest?
Yeah, so we gotta do that one first. I meant to plant the bean while I was here. I'm gonna not play this song. Go plant that bean I went and got and grab a Pona song. Definitely a lot of moving parts to this game. But we will not be helping Anju today because Anju only has a bottle, and I'm about to get a second bottle without her. So don't, Anju, maybe get some gloves.
She can keep her bottle today.
Yeah, keep your bottle, get some gloves to handle your chickens that you're allergic to. I just, that's another thing that people always, are like, check chickens. But I just have no sympathy for Anju because she bought things that she's allergic to and she can't keep them in the pen herself. Why is that my job as a, 7-year-old, 8-year-old child? I have to save the world.
You put it like that, but it's really funny because for a long time, helping her out was crucial to saving the world in the 80% speed run.
Yeah, that's
so many
true.
of those runs started off with just get a bottle, Leave Kakariko, get bottle, do magic, complete game.
Oh, I've loved seeing how the any% has evolved. All right, we're gonna attempt, this is flame storage. You can store your flame if you close your stick on it right on the last flame, and you get only so far away, and we're gonna try to carry this flame into the other room. It's a very, very tight window, so I might not get it. There we go. So that bypasses needing a fire source and magic to check this check, and since we're already here, might as well grab it. All right.
And if you'd found something very important in here and you're trying to really figure out the logic of the seed, you'd have to remember that you got this without the requirements, right?
Yes, yeah. So that's definitely out of logic to do. And I have gotten from there before, like my Din's Fire or Magic, which has been, those are big pop-off moments, but... All right, go ahead and grab our mask. You can get that Rudos.
All right, chat, what do you think is in Jabu? Which dungeon's there?
I just don't want. I don't want to see bottom of the well in there. I do
It's
not
pretty
want to
limited
see
choices, so I feel like you got a good chance of guessing it right.
I hate to say it. I do want to. I'd like to see Deku Tree in there because I can beat that. Though I would much prefer Deku Tree to be in an adult dungeon because it's kind of neat to. You only get to showcase Deku Tree as an adult if you're doing dungeon entrance rando. So I'd love to be able to showcase that here.
Or if you're doing some pretty intense glitching.
Yes.
The moon level? Okay, if this included Majora's Mask dungeons, that would be very impressive.
I'm waiting for the, Majora's Mask rando is a thing, and I would love to see. There are cross randos where you see that with a Link to the Past and Super Metroid.
It's interesting that it might be more difficult to do that for Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask because so much of the game is shared in code.
Yeah.
That trying to run them side by side might actually become difficult,
Yeah, I know that's something. I could be wrong, but I believe I've heard that's something they've looked into and have not been able to get to work. But maybe someday. I'm realizing I not checked this. Back a graveyard is Dodongo's Cavern. So that means our Shadow Temple is Dodongo's Cavern, which you don't want to see that.
The Shadow Temple has some pretty strict requirements to get in,
yeah,
right?
getting into Shadow Temple means I need Nocturne, I need Din's Fire, and I need Magic. So it's quite a lot of things, and I have 0 of those. So
yeah, and Dodongo's is one of those nice, easy to beat dungeons that you'd love to have.
I could beat that as I am right now, and unfortunately, we might not. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, we're gonna get our Rudos, and hopefully Jabu Jabu isn't just bottom of the well. See what happens.
Someone in chat is convinced that it's gonna be Ice Cavern.
Well, it cannot be Ice Cavern because as a child, so the game needs you to be able to check all the checks in the area, and unfortunately, child does not have the height to grab some of the ledges to get through that dungeon. So and reach some of the checks.
Guess there.
So it will not. Yeah, Jabu Jabu has to be something that you can completely clear as a child. So Jabu Jabu can be either Deku Tree, Dodongo's Cavern, Jabu Jabu, or Bottom of the Well. But at this point, we know where Jabu Jabu's located. We know where where Dodongo's Cavern's located, so it's kind of 50-50 here about if it will be Deku or Bottom of the Well.
All right, chat, give us your Nuka Pops, your Nuka Bobbles, whichever one you prefer. We definitely have a preferred outcome here.
Yeah, we definitely, if we see Bottom of the Well, at this point, we'll probably just do it. Get the checks out of there, but
especially
who knows? Maybe Bottom of the Well has some good progress in it. I don't know, but we definitely want to be beating a dungeon in the near future here. But again, there's a number of dungeons here I can access now. I can access Ice Cavern, I can access GTG, I can access Fire Temple, and we haven't been able to hop into any of those yet, so.
Yeah, we have been child for a while, and you picked up a bit of stuff we didn't have on the first trip through adults. So is this just trying to minimize the number of times you change age just for efficiency, or?
Yeah, especially if you don't have prelude, you don't really want to be going back and forth a whole bunch. And I know things like, okay, if I move Jabu Jabu right now, or if I move King Zora right now as a child, then when I go in there as an adult, I won't have to deal with King Zora's skip. I can just walk by him, which will be nice. Also, again, just good to get that knowledge of what's over here. Grab this hint stone down here real quick. That one's just on the way again.
So that hint stone we already knew, because that was probably referring to the hammer, I'm guessing.
Yeah,
Graveyard
very
being half of
likely.
Volvagia.
There is a chance that it refers to maybe Fire Temple is located in GTG and we got a Pona song, so like that's something to consider as well.
Oh, interesting. So it can be layered like that?
Yeah, so it could be like, how do you access that dungeon as well?
Okay.
So it's not always necessarily an item that defeats that dungeon. But that's kind of in this scenario, I'd say that's very likely what it is, just because we did find the hammer. But yeah, Path of the Heroes, that's like probably the most, honestly, like figuring out logic to Ocarina of Time Randomizer and how to read these checks or these hints is probably like one of the more difficult parts to get into Ocarina of Time Randomizer. Because there's just a lot of things that you might not think about normally.
This is the most rude place to find Greg. When you pay money to play a mini game, and then you get 1 rupee back.
Yep, I'm always salty when I play a mini game and they give me less money than what I paid. Like, why am I even playing this game? This is a horrible, horrible business. I should be getting a prize.
Like, it's not great to break even, but at least it doesn't feel as bad.
Yeah. Like, you want, like, at least, like a t-shirt, right?
Or a big enough plushie that even though you could probably get it cheaper, it, feels nice.
Yeah. All right, so that was another instance of flame storage there. So I stored the flame before jumping down and doing the diving game. On that specific torch would let me hold that flame so I could just easily light these up before I go back up and get this check. It kind of cuts back on the back and forth that you would normally have to do without flame storage.
Is there any precise timing with flame storage, or is it literally just you put it away?
So it's based on where the stick is located. So when you put your stick away, the last frame that the stick is like showing on screen, your flame on your stick needs to be in the torch.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense? I'm like,
yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. I was like, I hope I explained that in a way that, yeah. And then after that, you can get like too far away from the torch. So like I can do it on this torch, but if I tried to do it on the torch up here, I would be too far away when I take out my stick and the flame would be deloaded. There's a couple things that go into that, but definitely flame storage is pretty easy to perform once you know kind of those things about it. And that's what I like about Ocarina of Time Randomizer is I feel like it's pretty, in terms of like the tricks and stuff that you'll see done in here, they're all pretty accessible. Like there's a few things that are more difficult to learn, but it's nothing that's like very, all right, you know, goodbye.
We can come back for that.
We can come back for that.
Just hope we get something from the diving minigame. Which, by the way, if you're leaving...
Did I not talk to... Oh my god, I was explaining. I was so caught up in explaining that I didn't even... I'm glad you told me that.
I thought you were just doing efficiency scouting.
Nope,
like,
nope, because now I gotta redo this.
Anyway.
I have to redo the game.
Oh, you do?
Yep,
oh, no.
You leave and he forgets that you even talked to him. It's like, hi, hello, new customer. I was so caught up in explaining it. Oh my goodness. It do be like that sometimes.
I mean, looks like you got a nicer spread of rupees this time.
A little bit.
Because my understanding is how far spread apart they are is rather random, and sometimes it can be like just a couple dives, and sometimes it's 4 or 5.
Mm-hmm. And that can actually, speaking of that like flame storage I did, that can actually make or break you being able to make that, because you might have noticed the timer was cutting it a little bit close there for me.
Yeah.
And that's if you have a bad spread, that could ruin you being able to complete that game.
There's
oh,
people
heck.
who are very happy that you found well, and some people who are very disappointed that you found well. So the true...
Oh my...
Ooh, that's an important
That's
find.
important!
That would have been bad if we left that behind.
That would have been devastating. All right. Well... well. All right. We're going to ignore bottom of the well for now. Well, we're going to ignore bottom of the well. As I said, we do have access to Fire Temple entrance, Ice Cavern entrance, as well as GTG entrance. So I'd much rather go and see what's inside of those entrances before we commit to doing some checks in bottom of the well. Which maybe that's a mistake on my part, but I don't know.
Sometimes you just got to commit to the bit.
Yeah.
You said you don't want to see bottom of the well, so we're not seeing bottom of the well right now.
Yeah, the thing is, we did plant that bean in the graveyard to get our boomerang. So I am going to have to go back child at some point to do Jabu Jabu regardless. So we'll kind of reevaluate at that point if we need to dip into bottom of the well and do checks in there.
After you go adult here, we are pretty close to the 1 hour mark. Do you want to take our first break here?
Yeah. All right, so we'll be pausing the time here. I know when we get control of Link again.
Yeah, just as a quick reminder for people who are new to Hotfix or haven't seen some of the longer runs, we like to take wellness breaks here on Hotfix, encourage healthy behavior. But also it gives people behind the scenes a chance to get up, stretch, refill water. We encourage you all to do the same. So we take in a quick 5-minute break and, take care of yourselves. We'll be back in just a little bit with more Community Spotlight and Ocarina of Time Randomizer with Nuclear Reaction. Stay tuned. With that quick little break, we like to do those wellness breaks here on Hotfix, just to encourage some healthy behavior. Just as a quick reminder, your subs and bits help support weekly Hotfix content. We'd appreciate it if you would consider subscribing to help support more Hotfix content. And of course, if you have any ideas for shows or just a game that you'd like to see on Hotfix, you can go to gamesdonequick.com/hotfix, where there's a form to both submit ideas for a weekly or one-off show here on Hotfix, or just an open submission form for games that you'd like to see or games that you'd like to run on a show. So definitely check that out. You can also see more information about all of our shows we have here on Hotfix, starting weeknights at 7 p.m. Eastern and weekends at 1 p.m. Eastern. And of course, if you tune in tomorrow, starting at 7 p.m. Eastern, is Game Masters. It's a show about speedrunning adjacent content that showcases mastery in a variety of video games, followed by Time Capsule, which is a show about speedruns of a game that were released in the same year. Sort of a time capsule of speedrunning, so to speak. But we're partway through this Ocarina of Time 5 dungeon sanity here with Nuclear Reaction. And whenever you're ready, why don't you count us back in?
Yeah, let's get back into it here in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. All right, we're gonna play a warp song, and as it's playing, I'm gonna let my cat out. Go. Okay. Oh yeah.
Multitasking.
I called this too. I was like, as soon as we start the show back up, she's gonna want to leave the room because I got up. She has impeccable timing. I can predict her, but oh boy. But yeah, for those of you who are just now maybe tuning in or tuned in a little late and missed the beginning, I'm Nukes, and this is Ocarina of Time Randomizer. This is kind of the bread and butter of what I like to do on my personal stream. And today we're showcasing 5 dungeon sanity. What that means is we have to beat any 5 dungeons that will spawn the bridge to Ganon's castle. And the sanity part is that all the dungeon entrances are ship-shop shuffled around. So, for instance, our Deku Tree has Spirit Temple inside of it. So we have to kind of find dungeons that we can beat in their not normal locations and beat them. So right now I have 3 dungeon entrances that we have not accessed yet. First one we're going to go check is Fire Temple. I'd also like to get out to Ice Temple and GTG as well, and hopefully we can find something we can beat. We also do need to grab our boomerang that we found in the graveyard so that we can go beat Jabu Jabu.
And you also can't even check Forest Temple because you don't have a hookshot, right?
So Forest Temple is, because it's located in Spirit Temple, we actually might not even need a hookshot to beat it. Oh, you're talking about the entrance.
The entrance,
yes.
yeah.
Yes, sorry, I misunderstood. Yes. Ooh, okay.
So there's one thing off our list of Shadow Temple things.
That is something we want. We did find out earlier from a hint stone that Shadow Temple holds Dodongo's Cavern, which is definitely a dungeon we would like to have access to. So getting that Din's Fire is very, very nice because that's one of the things we will need to get into that Shadow Temple entrance.
And since you already know where magic is from a hint, does that like raise your priority on song checks to try and find that Nocturne of Shadow?
I mean, honestly, song checks are usually pretty priority regardless.
Okay.
Because they just help us get around. So I kind of, as soon as I can check a song check, we'd like to do that. Unfortunately, we've checked a lot of good checks and haven't gotten that song yet. We're kind of down to checks that require us beating other dungeons or... Yeah, but we do have that narrowed down. That means to our Nocturne, if I'm not mistaken, should be in Ice Cavern. All right.
That is a good point in chat. Somebody's asking what the 5 dungeons means. We went over that at the start of the show. But just to reiterate, that means once Nukes clears any of the 5 major dungeons, the bridge to Ganon's Tower will spawn instead of having to find the specific spirit medallions.
All right, so unfortunately, nothing we can do in Water Temple. Don't have a long shot. Don't have iron boots, but that's another dungeon we have. Are you kidding me, sir?
Wow.
That was
That was a
rude.
good hit. What the heck? And checks is referring to the items that are randomized to the pool. So anytime we're going to a location where, there's an item that has been randomized, we're checking that location. So players tend to refer to those as checks.
Yes. Sorry, I just going through a crisis there. Don't mind me.
Is that just because you took the hit coming down that hall and just messed up the cycle?
Yeah, it messed up the cycle, and I don't have like a bow or a hook shot to get him from behind, so you're just kind of left like, well, what do I do with that? And
yeah.
I decided to just dip out of there and go another way to get to where I was going. I want to get to the graveyard here so we can get a boomerang, so that we will have the ability to beat one dungeon, at the very least. I was gonna try to go from the other way, but that's okay.
Sometimes you just gotta know when to cut your losses on a randomizer.
Yeah.
Like if something isn't working out, maybe you try a different plan.
Unfortunately, that's kind of what happened there, but it's all right. It's all right. All right. There we go. Got the boomerang. So that's officially, we will be able to beat now one of our required 5 dungeons.
So I gotta ask, Nukes. At this point, how much more do you have left to check? And is the bottom of the well becoming more appealing yet?
It's gonna depend really on what's inside our ice temple entrance or ice cavern entrance and what's inside our GTG entrance. Once we figure those out, yeah, that bottom of the well could become more appealing here.
So if we don't get good things there, then maybe the thought is that bottom of the well might have some stuff that'll just open up more goodies for you.
Yeah, exactly. We also could dip into GTG, which I'd hate to do with the items we have right now, but that is another option. But without a hook shot and without a bow and without silvers, there's not like a ton you could do in there. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd really just be checking the first couple of chests if you wanted a GTG, right?
Yeah, so like GTG, we can go on the right side, and then I have Song of Time, which helps us out in GTG. And I can do hookshot-less strats to get through the dungeon, but without... The big thing is I don't have a bow, and there's a lot that's bow-locked in there. So it'd be more enticing if I had found a bow already. All right, I'm gonna take a guess here that Ice Cavern is just Ice Cavern. I haven't seen a vanilla dungeon yet.
Someone in chat's asking about the whole rolling and backwalking thing, and it's a weird thing about the different speeds at which Link travels. Walking backwards is slightly faster for some reason. Rolling is a variety of speeds depending on like which part of the roll animation, but it averages out to be pretty fast. And the explanation that's usually given by people who know this game way better than me is that over a long enough distance, backwalking is faster because it's greater than the average speed of a roll, but it takes time to, turn around to backwalk.
The kind of rule of thumb is if you're going anywhere in a straight direction, that's 5 or more rolls, you're gonna want to backwalk. Like the general rule of thumb you hear. There also is, usually when this gets brought up, someone will bring up, oh, but side hopping is the fastest, right? And yes, but only if you do frame perfect inputs.
Yes.
And it's a lot to just side hop with frame perfect inputs. So that's generally not how we move around, but...
Especially in a game like OOT, which can have variable amounts of lag in different areas, can make chaining frame perfect inputs even more difficult.
Oh.
Okay, so that makes the potential miss in Zora's Domain a little bit less painful.
Yeah. Granted, that is bomb locked, but we had bomb shoes, so I probably would have checked that regardless. All right. right, chat. We need good vibes. We need all the good vibes here. We need to find some dungeons that we can defeat and conquer. I'm okay with finding ice just because that will give us Nocturne. And I definitely would like to have access to Dodongo's Cavern, but you know, Deku or something. I couldn't even beat Deku as I am right now.
It was your pops and your bombers.
All right. Fire Temple. Now this is interesting because we can beat Fire Temple, but the health I have right now and lacking a Goron Tunic is not good.
It's scary, yeah.
It's not the best situation we could be in here. For those of you who might not be super familiar with this, there's a lot of rooms here in Fire Temple, including the boss fight, that are based on, a timer that is determined by how many hearts you have full. So every quarter of a heart filled gives you more time on your timer. And fairies can help with that, so we do have 2 bottles. We can grab 2 fairies. But we're not gonna have much time on our timer with only 5 hearts here.
And the timer can behave in weird ways because your health bar can increment in steps that are not visible.
Mm-hmm. So we'll see. There's also a possibility here. There are some checks in here that require a bow, and you could get locked. We could get locked out of here. So see what the game gives us. Also, there's our good friend Pierre, the Scarecrow, in here. He requires a hook shot to get his chest. And if he has the boss key, well, we also won't be getting to the boss. So.
It's just one of those things where we're running low on options and you're here, so just grab some easy checks while we're here.
Yeah, well, we're already here. Yeah, might as well check what we can check. This is a dungeon, and if we're able to defeat it, you know, that gets us closer to getting to Ganon, so we kind of do what we can do. Assume that we'll probably complete this dungeon at least at some point. I think is a decent assumption to make. Let's see, yeah, with my current health, we have 33 seconds, which, although not a small amount, is not enough for, like, the boss fight here. Ooh, that is a good tool. That is a good tool.
That's an interesting color on the Biggoron sword.
All right, so we're gonna come up here. I'm gonna bottle 2 fairies. I'm sorry to the fish.
Oh no.
You deserved
Jumping
better.
out the fish in the fire temple of all places.
It's a firefish, you know? That's how dragons are made. Did I just bottle up the... You know? Oh, okay, all right. You know, game, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. That's what I get for putting the fish there. All right, chat. Again, we're gonna need all the good vibes to get through Fire Temple here.
Chat has noticed that apparently your hover boots are the barking dog, which I did not notice.
Yep.
Which is amazing.
It's that's my favorite hover boot noise, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of fun things in Ocarina of Time Randomizer. And dog boots is a good one.
Especially in situations like that where it just barks many times rapidly.
Yes. But like also your low health noise, sometimes that can be scary what that is.
I'm a big fan of
Put it
the
lightly.
no arrows bow twang.
Yes. That's a good one. All right, just played it safe there. Because we don't have a lot of health and oh boy. Don't have a lot of time. Oh, and my headset just died, so I'm gonna have to change that battery real quick. Multitasking at its finest. Boo-boo-boo. All right.
Are we back?
Gaming, we're back.
Okay.
I kept hearing it beep, and I was like, please last until the next wellness break, and it didn't.
Yeah. I'm enjoying the chill vibes of the ranch song while we're doing low health Fire Temple.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
kind of scary to be doing this, and we just got very relaxed vibes with the music.
This is where I'm really wishing we had gotten a second fairy.
Oh, this room seems a little hard with this timer.
Yeah, especially normally you'd like to hook shot this fence to kind of make your climb not as treacherous, but unfortunately don't have a hook shot yet.
Oh.
All right, and that's why we need the fairies, because fire timers. But we're back.
Just a few seconds off.
Yeah, which kind of stinks because that means I'm gonna have to go bottle up, actually 2 fairies hopefully after this, but
Like that lava ranch, Lon Temple. So what's that thing you're doing where you do a jump and then Link glitches out a little bit, then grabs a ledge way higher than you should be able to?
so that's what we call a ground jump, which is, I always tell people if you're interested in learning Ocarina of Time Randomizer, getting into that, this is one of the most useful little tricks you can learn. Basically, using a bomb and a shield, you're able to store a jump with Link, who normally can't just, jump on his own. And lets you jump and maybe grab a ledge that's a little bit higher that normally you couldn't grab. There's lots of methods to learning it, super easy to learn, and if you're interested, I definitely encourage anyone in chat who's interested to check out Ocarina of Time Improv, which is a hotfix show that I host on every other Friday. We'll be on this Friday. We'll teach you how to do tricks like that. Get into Ocarina of Time Rando yourself.
Starting at roughly 10 p.m. Eastern. I say roughly because it's the second show of the night, so
Yes.
start times are a little variable for the second show.
Yeah, it will be, if you catch What's Faster, it will be right after that show.
What's Faster is also a fun show. They race different games of similar lengths, and it's usually a good time.
All right,
All
game.
these bloopies could have been ice traps.
Well, unfortunately, as you'll see here, I'm just gonna showcase for anyone who's not familiar with this. We are locked. We are locked by a bow and that lock. So
Oh no.
that's great. The game do be like that. So we're gonna do a fun little thing that we call reverse wasteland here. I can go to GTG the correct way, but why do that when I can do this? So this is, I definitely would consider this to be one of the more difficult things you can learn in OOT Rando. But all it is memorizing where your like void out zones are, and you kind of knew where to go and get through the wasteland backwards. And this is normally for those of you who maybe haven't played this game in a while or don't remember how you normally do this. Normally going through, you spawn a Poe, and that Poe leads you through so you don't hit any of the zones that you void out in. But if you just memorize certain like pieces of ground, get through.
Yeah, because the path doesn't change. It's just...
Mm-hmm. This part's easier. Follow the flags.
Somebody in chat's asking, how long is the stream going? Well, that depends a little bit on this seed, because we're playing a randomizer.
Yes.
And if this seed is very nice, we'll be done a little early. But we did have someone check the seed to make sure it wasn't going to take a huge amount of time.
Mm-hmm. Now, I will say I did check with the person who vetted the seed just a little bit ago, and they said it wasn't like as easy as I would have liked the seed to be, so that's got me feeling real good.
That's the answer to that question from somebody in chat. Will the gate be open? Well, you can just get arrested on purpose and get thrown out on the other side.
Yeah, so if, because we haven't gotten the Gerudo membership card, we get thrown out here, or thrown into the jail if you have a hook shot. If we did already have the Gerudo membership card, they do open the gate from the other side. So, it's a nice thing. Nice little thing to know. Because, yeah, that would kind of stink if you go all that way and it's like, oh, yeah, that's weird. Why are you over here?
Stand aside to let you in. Gate's still closed.
All right. Well, hopefully GTG is something tasty. I really am looking for that Deku tree at this point. Especially knowing... Hello? Can you... Ma'am? Why are you not freezing? Okay. We did get a hint earlier that Deku Tree does have our magic, so it'd be really nice to find that.
So I believe that's similar to the... there's a few other enemies that do that, where you try to throw a nut and they will guard, but the hitbox on the Deku Nut is just huge, so you can throw it at an angle where the enemy doesn't try to guard, and then they get frozen, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's the tech we use for the Gerudo guards, and then you'll also see that with Dark Link.
Yeah.
It's a great way, because that fight is atrocious otherwise, but yeah, so if you ever wanted a good strat for fighting Dark Link, if that's somewhere that you struggled maybe as a kid, if you use a Deku Nut at like the 9 o'clock position, that will freeze Dark Link. All right, we did get a hint that Gerudo Fortress is path to Dodongo's Cavern. Fortunately, it's not there, and I don't have a bow to play the archery game, so... All right, moment of truth. Shadow Temple.
Interesting.
Another dungeon that I cannot complete, but we can at least do a few checks here with our hover boots.
So what are we missing here for Shadow Temple?
You definitely need the hook shot, and you'd like to have a bow. Logically, you need a bow, but with bomb shoes, we can kind of work around that a little bit, but without a hook shot, we will not be able to complete this dungeon. But we can get a number of checks done, and it's not, like, as I said with Fire Temple, it's not a bad idea to just kind of start this dungeon, because you're going to hope that it's some... Ooh! Okay. All right, we'll take that.
That opens
Once we get a bow,
some doors.
Once we get a bow, we can do, we can get our silvers for Spirit Temple, so... Things are kind of starting to piece together here.
There's some hope that maybe we won't have to go to the bottom of the well. Because we're just committed to that bit at this point, right?
Yep. Oh, dang. Yeah, we're just missing two really key items here that are gonna... One is the hook shot, which at this point our hook shot blocks Deku Tree and Ice Cavern. The only two dungeons that we don't know what is located inside them is the Iron Boots and the Forest Temple. Both require a hook shot. One requires also either a gold scale or Iron Boots, so... Yeah, we don't have that. Come on, Link, where'd I get flip-flopped around here? Why am I flip-flopped in here? You ever play a game and play it all the time and get lost?
I feel like that's like the USB thing where you try to plug it in, it doesn't work. So you turn it around and that doesn't work. You turn it back the way that started and then it works.
I'm gonna blame the fact that this is not normal Nukes hours, and I've also been streaming since like 12 hours ago, so...
Yeah, it's been a long day for you.
It's been a long day for me. Your brain kind of mishmushes after a while, you know?
Yeah, I reached out to Nukes asking if she wanted to be on the show today. You know, prefacing it with it's all right if that's too much for you today and you want to pass. And Nukes like, no, let's do it.
Yep.
So we're just having a chill day here, doing some Ocarina of Time randomizer with some different settings than maybe you're used to seeing. But if you're confused by any of this, there are going to be some similar settings on Ocarina Improv later this week. So maybe some of this will get covered again with more people, you know, going over from a more beginner perspective.
Yeah, we'll definitely be taking it slower and breaking down a lot more what's going on. Definitely a lot of great videos on the YouTube too from past Ocarina Improv shows, so also recommend just checking those out too if you're at all interested in learning more about Ocarina Time Randomizer. Oh, heck. Link!
The single bark before the scream.
Link and I we're struggling now. All right, game.
Something nice.
What I know is gonna happen here is I didn't check the bottom of the well, and that's where all of our progress is. Like that is how this works.
And it won't even be like the bow is in the bottom of the well. It'll be something else that's like locking progress on some obscure check, then that will lead to a bow.
Or it's gonna be like 2 of our hook shots are in there.
Oh, both hook shots, yeah.
Both hook shots are in there, you know, just like something ridiculous.
And it also does make sense, because like, there's, what, 3 bows and 2 hook shots?
Yes.
Is it 3?
Yeah. So how, something we haven't touched on is how items kind of work in this is they are progressive upgrades. So certain things like your bow, each one you get there's like 3 different bows in the vanilla game because you get capacity upgrades for them. So whichever one you find first is going to be your first one, and then your second one will be your next capacity upgrade. It also works for hook shot, so you're not going to find your long shot before your hook shot. Whatever one you find first, that is your hook shot. And the second one will be your long one.
Yeah, and that is because there's multiple reasons for it, but both it plays nicer to the player, but also Ocarina of Time is coded in a way where if you pick up the long shot and then pick up the hook shot, it will override your long shot with a regular hook shot.
Yeah,
So
we don't want
you
that.
could lock yourself out of permanently out of being able to get certain checks if it wasn't coded this way. But it also just makes a more friendly experience so that some of those important items, there's multiple locations to find it. Especially with like strength upgrades, there's multiples of those. And if the seed doesn't require the top tier strength upgrade, that just means you have multiple places you can find it.
We're also reaching that point where I start to worry, was there something on 10 skulls? And I just like said, no, heck that.
You have been picking up some skulls.
Yeah, I picked up some. I think I only have like 5 maybe right now. And
I mean, the plan was also to just get that while you're doing dungeons, and we haven't done much dungeon work. So.
yeah, which unfortunately didn't play out the way I was hoping it would play out. But that's, at its core, that's why I love Ocarina of Time Randomizer, because you never know what you're in for. The game can show itself in some devious ways, and boy, does it like to do that.
Yeah, someone's asking about, can you find the arrows before the bow? Technically, yes. There's a small number of arrow drops that are in the pool, but from like random breaking pots or like grass, those arrows don't show up until you have a bow.
Mm-hmm. So those will appear as bloopies, or blue rupees. So that's, I know Ray made a comment earlier that, we're finding a lot of blue rupees. That's because at that time we didn't have a bomb bag, we didn't have a bow, so any of those drops present themselves as blue rupees in that scenario. And then they will magically transform into the item they are supposed to be. They evolve. All right, getting some health in here, but just not good stuff.
So which one would you want to see more at this point? Bow, hookshot?
Hookshot, because that will get us into Forest Temple entrance.
Oh, true, yeah.
Yeah, that would be real nice to see. Bow will let us, go back and finish Fire Temple, but... Oh, heck. Oh, no.
Bow would also open up some other checks in other places.
Yeah, but Hookshot's just going to be more valuable overall.
Yeah.
A lot of those, I think, a lot of those checks are going to be in the Forest Temple. That's kind of your bow heavy area. But we did earlier on get a hint that Forest is barren, so that kind of lends itself to not be the best.
Yeah, I was more thinking GTG and the bow games, that kind of stuff. Nothing huge, just does open up some more checks.
Yeah, which GTG would definitely be a good place to go. I probably will go into there before we go back. Probably what the plan is here once we get this final check and everything, the planets align in here. We will.
We didn't really do a dive in there because there's not much available, but it is still a choice.
Yeah, which again, I said earlier, I would have much rather have gone in there with a bow, but there's still checks in there. We could get a bow in there. You just don't know. But this will be. Getting these re-dead will be the last check I can do in here, and I'll have to dip out.
Yeah, people in chat talking about the gold Skulltula rewards. You said 50 and 40 are off, and we got a hint that 30 is something we don't need, so.
Yes. So this is kind of the route I'm gonna do right now is we are going to first dip over here. I did plant a bean in Lake Hylia. which gives us 2 checks over here. After that, we will go to GTG. I also didn't check Death Mountain Crater at all. Death Mountain Trail is barren, but there's a few checks out that way as well that we can grab. And then after that, we'll be going back Child, and we can do Jabu Jabu and Bottom of the Well.
Yeah.
If all else fails, so...
Nuke was like, please not Bottom of the Well. Please not Bottom of the Well.
You just know that because I abandoned it earlier, that's what I was supposed to do this whole time. Yeah.
It's always either you're completely right in skipping it, or it's absolutely crucial. It's never like, that's one of your bows, and there's other bows, other places you could have gotten.
Yeah.
It's never middle ground, you know?
It's like your first bow's in there, and then the other bows are bow locked, and yeah, it's it's like always, it's never like a happy medium. It's just one extreme or the other. The game is very sentient. It just knows.
It's got the desire sensor.
Where be my fish? What is he? He is way back there doing some dance. Come on, fish. Okay.
Oh no, there's some cursed content in chat, Nukes.
I can imagine what's being talked about in chat, knowing my chat's probably in there making cursed comments.
Nothing as glorious as Boss Baby Watt.
Another big thing I haven't done yet is check the Hyrule field checks. Because before, when we went through the field, I only had bomb shoes as a child, and I wasn't about to use those. That's quite a bit of checks. So we have options. It's just, picking the right option.
I also like some of those options more than others.
Yeah. Hopefully, we find something good here wildly soon.
I believe. Spike Vegeta's never given us questionable seeds before.
Yeah, I've never had to talk to Spike Vegeta after doing a run on GDQ when he vetted the seed.
Definitely didn't happen the last time you were on the show.
No. I mean, granted, last time he was told to gen a 3.5-hour seed, and it was exactly that.
Yeah.
We'll see if he understood the assignment this time. I want to say I did check that. I definitely checked that. All right. I do find though, so, and I've kind of mentioned this here with like our bow and our hook shot. The way these 5 dungeons tend to work is you spend a lot of time scouting out here in the beginning, and then all of a sudden you just like are able to complete a bunch of dungeons. So just need like the floodgates to open at some point.
That was a duplicate hint. Is there just more hint stones than there are hints?
Yeah, so all the hints are doubled essentially.
Okay.
There are definitely hint stones that are in some very far off places that you're likely not going to check. My favorite instance of that would be at the Hyrule Castle as a child. If you go all the way where like Talon is sleeping, there's a tree there. You can play Song of Storms. It opens up a grotto, and inside there's a bombable wall with a hint stone behind it.
So you have to play Song of Storms and then bomb a wall.
Yes, and it's very out of the way to go over there too. On top of it, so it's like you're never checking that hint stone. Like it's something has gone terribly wrong if you're going out there. All right. Well.
Well, we have the final version of an ammo type, not the one we want.
Yeah, so that's all our bomb bags. No bows, no hook shot. Can't even access Deku Tree or Dodongo's Cavern.
The seed is rude.
This is cursed.
I think we can officially declare that the seed is rude.
Yep, yeah. I give that the stamp, the rude stamp. Certified rude seal of approval. Starting to lean towards, I might have to have a talk with Spike Vegeta afterwards.
The fun part about that is, no matter whether or not there's important items in the bottom of the well or not, there's always, well, you should know I don't want to do well. So of course I'll leave it.
Yep. All right. We'll go ahead. We'll take a dip into GTG. Go up to Death Mountain Crater. And then we'll go Child, do Jabu Jabu. And then, when all hope is lost, trudge our way back to bottom of the well where I said I would check things earlier and I didn't, and I guess I should have, and I'm having some regrets, but you know, that's all right. Go ahead and grab some skulls because that's also something I've put off, and I do be like that.
I mean, it is also possible that you've made the completely correct choice.
It is. For all we know, everything is gonna pop up right here, right now. Everyone's being rude today. Thank you. Like, you're supposed to freeze with the Deku Nuts. Alright, worst case scenario, I get to show off a hook-shotless GTG, and everyone can be like, whoa, that's cool, and we don't get anything in here, but we get to showcase hook-shotless GTG. Alright, seeing too many bloopies here for my taste.
Just a reminder, if you enjoy the Ocarina of Time randomizer content, you can follow Nukes on Twitch. I just dropped the link in chat.
Thank you.
You'll find a lot of randomizer content over on her stream. Mostly Ocarina of Time, but some other games every now and then.
Mm-hmm. Dipping my toes into the new Paper Mario randomizer. That's been a lot of fun. Come on. You. All right, of course, nothing yet. So this will be going out of logic. I'm hoping maybe, I don't know. But normally you need a hook shot to grab, you gotta grab a bunch of silver rupees in this room, and there's one way up there that you need a hook shot for. Fortunately, in this room, there is a floor master, which is the enemies that drop down and grab you. So what we're gonna be doing once we grab all the other rupees here, and that's our last silver rupee, I'm gonna go ahead and line myself up underneath that silver rupee, and we'll let floor master drag us up there, and Link will hit the silver rupee and complete this room. If we do it correctly, you'll hear the jingle. And there it is. So now that room is in a completed state that we can enter the door. Now there is still one more obstacle. There's a bunch of firewalls that the game wants you to have a hook shot to get over. Thankfully, we have a nice little setup to get past that. Of all doing some jumping work. That's not gonna be good. Okay. There we go. So now this is all what we call out of logic, where we're supposed to have a hook shot at this point, but since I'm here and know that trick, we're gonna go ahead and grab a few more checks back here. Unfortunately, we don't have silver, so we can't get the 4 checks behind the silvers block. And unfortunately, I don't have a bow, which is 2 other checks back here. So this is why I was kind of avoiding this, but I think it's always fun to show that off when on GDQ. So it's given the opportunity.
You can always get lucky and find like another bow that would be locked behind something.
Mm-hmm. I have found a hook shot back here before. Like, it's just, you know, things happen. So, it's not, you know... There's definitely, we could find a bow back here. We could find a hook shot back here. I'm gonna say, bottom of the well is starting to sound more and more like what I was supposed to do, but...
We're committed at this point.
Yes.
Which, as much as we're joking around, I feel like that is important. Like, if you make a routing decision...
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta, like, that's... And that's a lot of times you'll see with, like, races, you know? But maybe you'll make a call to go a certain path, and that's just part of the randomizer, is that sometimes you just don't go in the right direction, and it doesn't mean you're not a good player. It just, you made the wrong RNG call, and... It happens to everyone.
All right, so you just did a thing.
I did just do a thing. Yeah, those... So there's a couple chests in the game that are surrounded with fire like that. Basically, you just use your iframes. You run into the fire, take some damage, and use your iframes to mash A. And that will let Link in to open the chest while you have iframes.
Then he gets hit by the fire once you finish the animation, which is amusing to me.
Yeah. Kind of weird that we only got 1 key that whole time and no valuable items. See if we can get anything. This might just be a bunch of keys, but... All right. Well, that's unfortunate. Nothing useful. It's gonna be heckin' well. This is not good, chat.
How much of the well decision is just because you don't like well, and how much of it is because it doesn't count as a major dungeon?
So because of where we were at that point, I knew we had like a bunch of other options, right? Mm-hmm. So knowing that that was not a required dungeon at the time. I was like, I'm not going to waste the time here. Probably, you know, we had 3 other dungeons we could enter at that point. I was like, yeah, there's probably going to be something good in those. There's good odds that we can just skip this. And unfortunately, the game said no.
I believe. It's not over yet.
All right.
Jabu is the key to everything.
Yeah, we're going to go ahead over here and clean up. This is pretty much the last of what I'll be doing as our adult 2 here before we go back Child Link. Got a fairy fountain here.
But yeah, I believe.
Come on, game!
So many hearts. Considering that we haven't been able to get far in any dungeons at all, that is actually like a lot of hearts.
It genuinely is at this point. Also, just the fact that we haven't gotten when there's things like a bow that we haven't gotten yet, and bow's a progressive item with 3 different instances of it, that's not good. Wanted to read this?
Since you said you're tracking hints, do you ever wind up in a situation where you know that you found all of the hints and then you can just skip gossip stones?
Yeah, I'm personally not as good as counting my hints as maybe some others are, but that is something you definitely can do.
So what was that pickup you just got?
That's double defense. So
okay.
Even stronger. All right. You know what? For hoots and nannies and giggles, I want to go show off something else that normally we don't do in Ocarina of Time Rando, but let's just get another hint. Let's just go get another check. And I might actually use some recoils here later on because of how the seed is progressing.
Oh, we're coming over here.
But over here, there is a check that is locked by golden gauntlets, which is all 3 strength upgrades. However, if you have hover boots, you can cram yourself into this corner. I'm going to line up my icons so that the sword is right on the edge here. And I'm going to use the recoil of my sword hitting the wall. Put on hover boots, and if I get it at the correct pause, we will go flying. There we go, into the loading zone. That is normally not allowed in Ocarina of Time Randomizer, but as I said, I think it's a fun thing to show off. That it's a neat little trick.
It's for the stream value right there.
Yes.
Oh my god.
I figured there'd be nothing in there, but
we found so many rupees. We found so many hearts. Like, sure, bloopies are common when you're missing stuff like that makes ammo drops possible, but we've also found like a couple red rupees. I don't think that's your first purple rupee either. Like,
yeah,
we also even haven't found Greg. Like,
yeah, no Greg for the fans even.
If you're gonna throw rupees at us, like at least make the fans happy. Give us Greg.
I know. As someone who I know earlier, I didn't give Greg a lot of love, but my goodness. All right, so we're gonna go ahead here. I didn't check Bomb Chew Bowling, so we're gonna go check that out real quick. I also have a fairy fountain out in Hyrule Castle that we'll go check as well. We're gonna go back to Child Goron City because there were some checks there that I didn't grab earlier. And We're just kind of being as thorough as we can be at this point because who knows? All right, so we can just stand here, put those down, blah, 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 blah. Whoops, I'm bad at the game. All right, nothing. Two bloopies. Oh, something I would like to have, though, before we go into Jabu Jabu is more Deku Nuts. Because that is, if you've watched Ocarina of Time Randomizer before, maybe even just other Ocarina of Time speedruns, you'll know that Deku Nuts are so much more powerful than you ever thought they were as a kid.
Yeah.
One of those dungeons that they are especially powerful in is Jabu Jabu, and I'm gonna want those before I go in there. It will be immensely slower without them.
Jellyfish are allergic to Deku Nuts. I mean, yeah, kinda.
Essentially, yeah, that's the jellyfish in there are the huge instance of that. And getting the Baronade quick kill also requires you to have Deku Nuts. I'm just gonna wait a little bit for our time of day here. Maybe is a bad idea. I've decided that's a bad idea. We'll do a different detour here. We can purchase some from Kokiri Forest, and we'll hop into Child Side of Spirit Temple. Because that's another dungeon that is kind of a potential that we could be doing, so hopping in and doing Child Side's not a bad idea here.
I guess we've known that's there for a bit, and you haven't really gone in there at all.
Yeah. I mean, you know, it's again, it's one of those things that it made sense at the time to not do it, and
yeah, I can definitely get why. I believe that skipping well was the correct choice.
I hope so. I really hope so. I'm having many doubts, but... Alright, that should be... Oh, that's only 10. What am I... Give me 5 more. Thanks. Okay.
Yeah, for the person saying they appreciate not hearing Navi, you can randomize a lot of the sound effects, including Navi's sound. And on this seed, Navi is weep, which is great. It cracks me up.
Immensely better.
Strictly an improvement.
And that's also, you know, we talk about and we see on here, like, all the sounds are randoed. But you can actually opt to just... either you can keep them vanilla or you can assign them all specific noises. If you want to have the hover boots always bark at you, you can set that. You can set that.
Yeah, I know Fant for a while was specifically setting them weep on Navi whenever he was doing a showcase run.
Oh, what am I doing? Hello. I meant to put on bombs. Knew I did something wrong.
So I know there are limits on which sounds can be low health, just because the devs are aware that could be terrible. Mm-hmm. I don't know if Navi is one that can be low health.
So this is kind of, there's when you go to make one of these, you can choose ear safe noises for like low health and certain other settings. So there are non-ear safe options that you could choose.
Turn that off and
but
make bad decisions on purpose,
Yes.
but you know you're making bad decisions. Okay.
Yes. Essentially. But then that's your own problem, you know, if
Yes.
that's what you want to, if that's the life you want to live, you do you, boo. Like,
You know what you're signing up for at that point.
as a streamer, I would never, because I don't want my viewers to have to endure that. But and even with the ears, oh my
God.
All right, I'm a little angry right now, but that's okay.
I mean, it's better than well, right?
Yeah, you know, now the big thing we are looking, okay, so with that bow, we
Does that open
can
up Spirit Temple, or do you
probably
still
beat
need-
fire, not guaranteed. We can probably beat forest, not guaranteed. Just depending on where certain things are, kind of like the key layouts for both of those dungeons could prevent us from beating those, but we 1000% need a bow to finish no matter what, because you do need that to beat Ganon at the end. All right.
Boss key? Okay.
So I am locked out of any more of Child Spirit. I am going to go ahead and... You can grab this Skulltula from the back.
So we're at 8. We're not too far away from 10.
All right. Yeah, slowly making that count. We got a bow now. Next, we're going to head over to Jabu Jabu. And hopefully we'll just find our hook shot and not have to even think about going into the well. So yeah, at this point, hook shot that's our big kind of, that's what's really holding us back right now is that hook shot.
Do we have any idea where light arrows are?
No, but we will be able to get a hint once we, when we go up to Ganon. That's like the, you know, or if we beat, as I said earlier, with these settings I'm running today, there's a second pair that if you beat a 6th dungeon, so my bigger concern is getting into that Deku tree for that magic. Which at this point, we don't know if Deku Tree is in Forest Temple or if it's in Water Temple. One will be a little bit easier to get into than the other. All right, that's nothing.
I was like, what, a seed bag it looked like?
Yeah, that's a slingshot upgrade.
Slingshot, okay.
All right. Skip this roll and go run earlier. Because we were in a more optimistic place at that point. where we felt like we could skip some checks and look
We
where
still
we are
had
now.
hope in our world.
We're still holding on to a little piece of hope.
I love the holding the bomb tube above your head and walking into him strat.
All right, more health.
Weep. We are right about at 2 hours, so once you're done checking this area, I'd say, why don't we take our next break? We have some progression, so we have hope. I really didn't want to take the second break with, like, no major progress being made, because then we'd be sad. But we've got a bow that opens a lot of things. We have hope now.
We'll go ahead and head on over to Jabu Jabu, and I think once we get in there, we'll go ahead and that'll be a good spot to stop.
Yeah, sounds good.
Hoping to get down here while it's still nighttime in Kakariko. Might be a little tight here.
Wait, someone in chat's asking a question that I don't know the answer to. Does the double defense affect the fire timer? Because you said it bases it on your number of hearts.
It does not. Just the how many hearts are filled. It only affects when you get hit, but not the timer. That's a good question though. Go ahead and grab our 10 here.
10, yeah. What if 10 is the hook shot?
we'll be going on break really, really happy. Grab a couple things here, then we'll drop into Jabu Jabu. All right, all the good vibes. All the good vibes.
I believe.
Well,
okay.
You know what?
There's worse things.
That is access to Spirit Temple, which now that just means we don't have to do the Big Poe. That's all that means is we don't have to do Big Poe unless our light arrows are inside Ganon's castle, then we might opt to do the Big Poe.
And also, does that unlock the rest of GTG?
Yes. So now we're in a state where, we could do almost all of GTG. There is what we lovingly call the toilet, which you need iron boots for.
Yeah, the toilet.
But there's a lot more checks, that we can grab in GTG. Now we're missing a lot of keys, so I don't know, but we'll go ahead and pause here in 3, 2, 1.
All right, so we're gonna take our second break. Here on Hotfix, we like to take wellness breaks on the longer runs. So here with this randomizer, since we've been playing for a bit, we're going to take a break. We encourage you to do the same. Take an opportunity to stand up, refill your water, take care of yourselves. As a quick reminder, if you're watching on YouTube, you can check us out on Twitch, twitch.tv/GamesDoneQuick. And we'd appreciate it if you would consider subscribing while you're here. Hotfix is supported in part thanks to your subscriptions and bits. And it helps out a lot. If you tune in tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern's Game Masters, and then after that is going to be Time Capsule. So we got a lot of stuff coming up for you this week, including Ocarina Improv this Friday, starting at around 10 p.m. Eastern. So if you're enjoying tonight, you can tune in for that. But we're going to take a break, and we'll be back in just a few minutes with more Ocarina of Time Randomizer. Stay tuned. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Community Spotlight. We just took our second break, and hopefully we're in the final stretch. Knock on wood. Give us your good vibes. We're about to hop into Jabu Jabu, and hope we're looking for something good here. So, Nukes, whenever you're ready.
All right, let's get back into it in 3, 2, 1, go. All right, gotta get my setup here. We did talk about how valuable Deku nuts are for this dungeon. Definitely want those equipped. So right now I was telling Ray while we're on our break that the big thing we are really, really looking for is hookshot. That will put us in a position where we can beat many dungeons, which is very important here for 5 dungeon sanity, where we have not beaten a single dungeon yet, but
I feel like we've officially reached a point where it's unusual for 5 dungeon sanity. 2 hours in. Yeah. Have not cleared one yet.
Yeah, that's normally by this point you would have at least been able to find your Deku tree or your Dodongo's cavern, and just unfortunately the way that our dungeons entrances shuffled this seed put those both in horrible places, and here we are finally doing our first dungeon, although this has been accessible for a while. Mm-hmm. But we've started a few, and as I said, if we could get a hook shot, that would be very fantastic.
It also does make sense to put this off because there's not a lot of checks in Jabu. Mm-hmm. So while it's one you can do easily, when there's not a lot of other checks that you need to do as a child, it kind of does make sense to just put it off.
Yeah, ideally in Ocarina of Time Rando, you're going to go to those places that have more check density. It's more items to, check and see what they are, especially when you're looking for something like your hook shot or your bow. And Jabu Jabu only has 4 checks inside of it, and kind of slow to do, so it's not really a place we want to dip earlier on.
Oh my goodness. So we asked for good vibes, and somebody in chat says they're predicting both hook shots in well. I think that's the opposite of the vibes we're asking for, friend.
I think that's the vibes we have, though. I don't think they're, you know. But yeah, kind of for those who have been following along, or maybe you're just joining, our current game plan right now is we're going to beat Jabu Jabu. This will be our first of 5 dungeons we will need to complete. After that, I'm still on the hunt for the hook shots. So we will probably go ahead and dip over to bottom of the well because it does have a lot of checks, and I put it off earlier, so you just know it's going to have something in it.
Yeah, it does tend to work out like that a lot.
Afterwards, we will go adult, and we will head over to Adult Spirit Temple since we did get the golden gauntlets, and hopefully we can dip into there and get some checks. We can't beat that without a hook shot, unfortunately, but you know, check that out.
So somebody's asking why avoid well. Well, so it was early on in the seed. Nukes was still prioritizing scouting information, and well does not count as one of the dungeons for the 5 dungeon clears.
Yeah, and at that time I had a lot other better locations I could go check, and so I chose to prioritize those, and unfortunately it just, didn't work out for me, as sometimes life, you know, it do be like that.
And you know, we do joke spite, but you know, it is a little bit of that. We were hoping for Deku Tree, not well, and we got well, and heck.
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, a big part of Ocarina of Time Randomizer is just you have to make calls here and there, and I think there's valid reasons to do whatever call you might make. For the most part, there's, you know, it's really interesting to watch 2 players race a seed and see how they differ in their routing, and I say most of the time, pretty much 99% of the time, both players are making good choices. It's just the one player happens to go to the place that has all the items and the other wastes their time somewhere else, and I am the player wasting their time in other places today. Let's go. I guess a nice thing about Jabu Jabu is we do get a few more skulls in here. We know the max tokens we'll need is 20, so getting up to that 20 soon wouldn't be bad. We can just scratch that off our list of checks and move on.
Yeah, it's funny because we talked earlier about how you won't need to go out of your way for many Skulltulas because you just get a lot while doing dungeons, and then we got a seed where you weren't able to do dungeons.
Yep.
It's just rather unfortunate.
Getting a 5 dungeon seed where you just need to beat any 5 dungeons but can't beat dungeons is really not a good vibe. Not the vibes I wanted.
I enjoy that she does the holding the item thing up too. It's a nice little touch.
I've never even thought about that. That is a nice little dun, 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 dun.
Especially since she, you know, has the crush on Link and looks up to him.
Yep.
So she's doing the same thing.
All right. Grab more nuts when we go up top, and then... Unfortunately, we only got one more check here. We're kind of done. Oh, chat, I am interested. How many of you think bottom of the well? Oh my, what the heck?
Wow.
That was heckin' rude.
All right, hang on. Let's run a poll. Let's get the chat feelings here. Is the hook shot in bottom of the well? There you go. Poll is up in chat.
I can tell you all something. I am having so many regrets right now. Not going in there earlier.
At this point, it's like, well, at least you wouldn't be concerned about it. You would know.
Yeah. That's, again, sometimes with these, you gotta take a risk and say, yeah, I could probably skip that area and... Also, neat little trick there. Normally you have to climb up all the way these vines to hit that switch, and you have like a nice little setup there. Do you want to grab this token though? Because we still do want to get 20 tokens. You're in that. All right, and let's see. Hopefully I can show off the quick kill here, because it is very satisfying getting the quick kill on Baronade. Which basically this will rely on hitting Baronade at the right moments so that all the jellies are kind of clustered close to the body. And we can use one Deku Nut. Oops. Ah, heck. One Deku Nut to destroy all the jellies in one whip swoop. There we go. There's one. There, okay. There we go. And if you don't get those timed right, you have to wait a while till Baronade's like vulnerable again to hit. And it's way, way, way more timely. All right, come on, come on, come on. No.
Claim check. Oh, come on.
Which Death Mountain Trail is barren, so we know that that claim check doesn't do anything for us.
I feel like that's especially appropriate because I don't know if you saw the tweet, but the tweet for today's show had an image of a hint stone saying that the big Goron crafts an ice trap.
I did not see that. No. Yeah, that's... If we had ice traps on, probably.
So I feel like that's a nice... That's very in theme for today's show. You get the claim check there.
All right. Taking my walk of shame over to bottom of the well. I avoided it for so long. I'm gonna real quick grab a skull over here though. I'm trying to get that 20 as soon as possible.
Well, 80% of chat, well, 80% of the people who participated believe that hookshot is in the bottom of the well.
All right, chat. We'll find out here very shortly.
It's impressive how much content is being gated by the hookshot right now.
Yeah, and I mentioned that earlier, that especially in these 5 dungeon sanities, hookshot really blocks a lot, because you have 2 dungeons that need you to have a hookshot to enter it, potentially 3 with Fire Temple, depending on if you get Bolero or hovers. That could lead you there as well. And then you just have a number of dungeons that require hookshot to be beaten. So Spirit Temple, potentially Forest Temple, Shadow Temple, Water Temple. You need 2 of them.
That Cuckoo's got the jukes.
I'm also making a realization here that I may have never looked at the arch in Desert Colossus. Which is a check I can do, but I didn't bother to look at it. Because again, it was one of those, I'm not going to waste the time looking at it, I'm just going to go. And we may have made some horrible mistakes today.
See, this is where I would normally ask, you know, is that on the same level of making mistakes like doing random settings randomizer? But I know you enjoy that, so.
Yeah, that's a whole different breed of. I wouldn't say that's a mistake, but that's a.
You're signing up for pain when you do that.
You're signing up for that, right? Or this is just, sometimes the seed is just, I don't even want to blame the seed, if I'm being honest, in this situation, because again, this is just I made the routing choice and it unfortunately didn't work out for me.
Someone's asking about super slides in chat. I think generally that is not allowed by rando settings because, well, it can be used to just get places faster. It can also be used in conjunction with hover boots to skip a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is definitely not something we allow. And when I say allow, I mean like in tournaments. Obviously, you are more than welcome to, when you're playing this game on your own, do whatever you want to do. But there's definitely certain like glitches that, in general, rando community agrees that aren't really in the spirit of rando, because it lets you kind of skip a bunch of checks and kind of requires you to have less items to complete.
Bomb shoes in the bottom of the well? Is this even randomized?
Oh my god! All right,
even
all right.
more.
All right.
You always got to get the one in on a showcase of, is this even randomized?
If there's nothing in here at this point,
would you be more sad at this point if there was nothing?
I will be very upset.
Because you were right the entire time and then you doubted yourself?
Yep. I mean, at this point, you know, you look at what do I really have left, right? And it's the what I have left to explore is kind of dwindling.
Even if you believe in yourself, coming here makes a lot of sense, since you did go child. Yeah. And like you said, there's a lot of checks here.
This is definitely probably one of my more denser areas remaining.
Oh my God,
as I mentioned earlier, you would like to go with check density areas that are going to give you the most checks possible in the quickest amount of time. That definitely is bottom of the well for me at this point, which is not giving me anything. Otherwise, it's like, again, I can go and dip into certain dungeons again, and like we can go dip into Spirit Temple, but we could get locked out pretty quickly. We could dip back into Fire Temple and get locked out from Pierre, who requires a hook shot.
I like how now that we're in well, chat is trying to figure out what the next worst place it could be that they should root for it to be.
Thanks,
Some of
chat.
them are convinced it's now 120 Skulltulas. Some people are saying it's the Arch. 3 bomb.
Wow.
So many
I've
bomb
never.
shoes.
Yeah, so after this, game plan is I definitely want to go check out that arch that I neglected to look at earlier. And then we'll go adults, and I'll probably go back to Fire Temple because hopefully we should be able to beat Fire Temple now. The caveat being Pierre may or may not. I forgot to change this. But I think that's a good starting point. And then we can dip into Spirit Temple, see how far we can go into there. We can go back into GTG and clear some more checks in there. So a lot of our checks remaining are just small keys. So I'm not as inclined to go back there. That's not like a super priority of mine right now.
Someone in chat's asking if it's possible to soft lock in Rando, and I guess the answer to that is almost never.
The only reason you would is if you are playing with no logic.
And then there's occasionally issues in randomizers where something weird happens and the logic doesn't do a thing right. But at this point in OT Rando, I don't think that really happens anymore.
Yeah, that's I really have never seen that happen. It's very consistent. And they even go as far as to like make sure, because some of the dungeons get kind of weird with how key logic works with your small keys and such. And they make sure that if you were to use your keys in the worst possible way and not save scum anything, that you won't lock yourself out there, which I know there's a lot of other randomizers that don't even have that luxury where you could just incorrectly use your keys and then you're screwed. So yeah, assuming you're not playing with no logic turned on, you should have no problem beating the seed. Everything should be accessible. All right, unfortunately, we are nearing the end of here with nothing.
All right, who's correct, chat or me? We're gonna find out.
I don't even know what I want at this point.
Because one side is being right, and one side is progression.
Yep. Oh
my God, it was here.
All right, I am gonna go ahead just in case. I am just gonna go ahead and grab the last 2 checks in here because it's not too much time, and maybe it's our light arrows. I'm not coming back to the well. So, all right, there you go. That's Greg's brother, Stone of Agony.
I haven't seen that in so long. I forgot it was in the pool. Chat was right.
Oh my gosh.
Now is long shot here. That would be the ultimate troll.
Let's go. Let's go. I'm rooting for it. Let's go. Come on, show me the money.
Oh my goodness, it's actually here. Oh my God, aren't you so glad you actually checked the last 2?
And that's why I did it, because I knew I wouldn't come back here unless. Oh my gosh. All right.
Oh my God.
Hookshot lets us beat a lot of dungeons now. We are big finger crossing, biting the RNG that Forest Temple is gonna lead us to Deku Tree, which has hinted magic in it. Because that is the last piece of puzzle, and Ganon will not tell us where magic is. So if we're stuck looking for magic, I'm gonna cry. So this needs to have the Deku Tree in it, which also will we'll be able to beat Deku Tree real fast. And yeah, so here we go. Moment of truth.
It's really funny because we went from having so few options to now all of the options.
Yep.
'Cause you've got bow, you've got hook shot. We know where magic is, so even if, yep, there we go. Magic is in Deku Tree, so now we have magic.
Once we get the magic in here, we can actually just go ahead and use that Din's Fire we have with the magic, and hopefully it's not in a bad place. But yeah, this is adult Deku Tree. Don't really ever get to see this. With the hook shot, we can go a bit faster in here. Also, just, you know, Link gets to be tall, and being tall lets us grab ledges a lot easier. So, a lot of you might be familiar with Basement 1 skip. Well, wait till you see adult Basement 1 skip.
Is that where you just walk up to the ledge and jump?
Spoilers!
No ground jumps needed here. I also enjoy the adult Link blocking the Deku Scrubs because it sort of bounces off his ankles. Like, it doesn't even look like his shield goes down far enough to block the Deku Nut.
Which actually, also to note, I know we meme about never buy a shield, never buy a shield. You need a Hylian shield in adult Deku Tree. Because your mirror shield will destroy what those scrubs hit to you. And there are ways to make scrubs pop up, but if you need to do the 23 is number 1 down in the basement, you need a Hylian shield for that. Because your hammer is gonna make them all pop up, and they just don't respond that way. All right, where?
So
I know there's
parts.
a magic in here.
There we go, magic.
All right, unfortunately we had to do a bunch of extra, but here we go. So now we have a number of options here. This will be our second dungeon we'll get to complete. Unfortunately, we're not going to be going to Dodongo's Cavern, which is kind of sad because that's a real quick dungeon, especially with bomb chews when you're in go mode. But because that's located in bottom of the well or in Water Temple, and I don't have iron boots, yeah. Unless we find iron somewhere else here, which I'm not going to be really doing extra checks at this point.
I guess I could drop off a boss, and then you'd be like, okay, maybe.
Yeah. If it like drops off a boss, or while we're looking for keys, you know, like, we'll go to Spirit after this, because Spirit can be fast with how we are right now. It's nearby, so we'll go to Spirit. That'll be our third dungeon. Probably go to Fire for our fourth. And then I think at this point we'll be doing Shadow over Forest, because both are long and linear, but we've already done a chunk of Shadow Temple where we haven't done anything in Forest.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God.
I goofed that up. So no, we will not be going to Dodongo's Cavern, because Water Temple is Ice Cavern, which has Nocturne, which leads us to Dodongo's Cavern. And at that point,
right.
that's
Yeah,
way too
I
many
forgot about
steps.
that.
I don't have the access in there. Yeah, that ain't happening.
I enjoy how Goma just melts with adult Link using the Bigoron sword. Goma is already very trivialized by speed strats, and that just...
Yep.
That was rude.
Destroyed. All right, so we do, thankfully, Child Spirit gave us the boss key already. So what we're looking for is 3 small keys, and once we have those, we can head straight up to Twin Rova. I had to think really hard about what Twin Rova's actual name is for a moment there.
And we're at 2
So
dungeons.
the alternative name that I call her.
And we're at 2 dungeons now, so we just need 3 more. For people who have not been counting in chat. Which, by the way, you should count in chat. Everybody loves counting in chat.
Yeah. How many of you earlier counted how many question marks were in the Celeste run?
I lost count very fast. So many question marks. It's like
Which,
trying
if
to
you
count
missed out on that run earlier today, I highly suggest checking that out on YouTube.
Yeah, it was very good.
That was part of my hotfix show, No Category Left Behind, where we do category extensions, and we had 3 different Celeste categories. One which was minimum grabs, which absolutely peak gaming.
Uni
Definitely
is
check that out if you love platforming. Like,
Uni's
insane
absolutely
levels.
cracked. Just
Absolutely, yeah.
ridiculous. There are a couple points where I was typing in all caps in chat, just going Uni God Gamer.
Yep.
Trying to count the number of question marks in that run is like trying to count the number of exclamation points that Frozen Flygon uses, you know?
Yes. All right, you need a thank you, right? All right, there's 1 small key. 2 more. Hopefully they aren't troublesome. Let's see, at this point, there's really no... The other option would be, I guess, Water Temple if we got a long shot. But there's no guarantee without irons that we would even be able to beat Water Temple, depending on where... Water Temple is kind of a really interesting dungeon in these 5 dungeon seeds, because the key could show up very early. It could show up very late, so it's like it's a neat one to kind of like take a risk with if you want to go and try to find the boss key early in there, or maybe trudge through the whole dungeon slowly. But unfortunately, without a long shot, we ain't doing that.
So I've noticed in this room, you spawn a lot of chests in Randomizer. A lot of times people will just open like the one. Is it always one chest has the randomized item in it?
They all have them, so I don't know. That might be what either, I don't know if that could have to do with chest size matches contents. Or
okay.
They found what they needed.
Missing information, yeah, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, all the chests do have randomized items in them.
Oh, we found Mirror Shield already. That was very early. It is a lovely green color.
Yes, I just have not taken the time to equip it yet. That does take time to do, and I don't want to waste that menu time if I'm not going to be doing this dungeon. We'll have to equip that, but... All right, key number 2. Hopefully get key number 3 here real soon. We can avoid doing extra checks in here.
Yeah, no problem. Asking questions in chat is encouraged. We're just having a chill night here on the Community Spotlight, doing some OOT rando. Even if maybe the seed was a little bit less chill than we had hoped for.
And that's, I always say this, if you come to my chat, I am always happy to answer, whatever questions about OOT Randomizer. I want people to understand. I know this is there's a lot of layers to this, as we said earlier. And it can be a lot to understand.
There's number 3.
But there's our third key, so we'll be able to get out of here. Bypass, we're not gonna be checking any more checks in here, because we're in go mode. We don't need anything else. If I were to get a long shot, I probably wouldn't want to go into Water Temple at this point anyway, since I don't have irons, and I have irons.
You don't know where the boss key will show up, yeah?
Yeah, so we are, sometimes you'll take you might make the play when you are in go mode to try to play for other items so you can get faster dungeons, but kind of the way that this was set up in this seed didn't really lend itself to do that for us, so we're just gonna go with what we know. Gotta chill here. But yeah, if you're watching this and you're interested in learning more about Ocarina of Time Randomizer, or you're really liking this content, this is kind of the bread and butter of my stream. Right now I'm doing a special event with my pal Sky Bills, who you might know from GDQ. But after that, this is the main game that I do pretty much every day on my stream. So I'd be happy to have you come check out the stream and hang out, and I'll be happy to answer questions there. Additionally, I host a hotfix show called Ocarina Improv that's on every other Friday, and will be on this upcoming Friday, which is aimed towards beginners in learning Ocarina of Time Randomizer. So we kind of break down what we're doing, why we're doing it, how to do the tricks. There's already some great videos from our past shows up on YouTube, so I definitely encourage checking those out, because those really do a great job of breaking down the basics. And check out the live show on Friday, starting around 10 p.m. Eastern.
I like how your mirror shield matches the very green Biggoron sword as well.
So there's actually a button you could click to, like, it coordinates the colors, and it does it. I'm really impressed with the color coordination. I've always found that everything goes together nicely.
Oh yeah, even your silver gauntlets are the same green.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great. Brando does a great job of that. We are fashion here. All right, neat thing, if you don't know about those iron knuckles, if you get at their left foot and just crouch stab, they won't be able to hit you. They can't hit you if you are on their left foot. You could say that their left heel is their Achilles heel. All right, ladies. Uh-oh. Oh no, oh no, oh gosh, I pulled out my sword and that hecked me up. All right. Right. This fight is unfortunately not the nicest. We can do a little bit of manipulating with the hook shot to keep them, like, in place if they're in the right spot, but sometimes they will not cooperate, or they'll fly around a lot, and this can make the fight very, very long when it doesn't need to be. Unfortunately, she went that way.
The troll.
What?
The troll. You had to guess if she'd come back in the screen, if it'd be left or right.
Oh my god. I did not expect her to go there. And then the other... ladies. They are
Because
not
like your only hope there is if she flies
cooperating.
back in, and then it's a 50-50 from which direction. So that's just rude.
This is, I mean, sometimes they just do not cooperate. Game? Okay.
I think she was blocking it for a second until the other one flew far enough forward.
Oh my goodness. All right, that should be good. All right, so that's the awful part of this fight. So I haven't really talked about something that's like very common in OOT that we haven't discussed is power crouch stabs. So for those of you who don't know, crouch stabs in this game were not given a damage value. So it takes on whatever damage value was the last thing you did. So before we walked into this room, or as we walked into this room, I did a jump slash. That is the most damage you can do is a jump slash. So I have that stored already. So we're gonna go ahead and get on this platform. So we're already nice and close. Shoot her down. And now we're ready to just go away and GG.
Yeah, and with the bigger on sword doing even more damage, that just makes that one cycle even easier.
Yeah. Which it is, with the Master Sword, if you do that setup, you should still have no problem getting the one cycle. It's just, yeah, easier with the big Goron Sword damage. But doing the one cycle on that fight takes away all that, like, RNG you see later where she starts to flip between whether she's doing fire or ice, and you have to get 3 of the same in a row. The first cycle of that is always consistently going to be 3 of the same element. So there's no RNG in that. So that's why we want to get that. We especially want to get that one cycle there. All right. Fire Temple is located in ice.
We've already done some of Fire Temple, so.
Yeah, so we're going to head over there. Hopefully what we've started over there will help us get through. Unfortunately, I have quite a walk to get back over there. Normally you would like to take through the Lost Woods. There's like a pool of water that gets you right there, but we don't have irons and we don't have a scale, so.
Interesting. Somebody in chat's saying that if she throws 3 of the same until she hits half health, so if you know you messed up the one cycle for whatever reason, don't do half of her health.
Yes.
And then you'll guarantee that she won't give you the RNG. I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yeah, that is a good backup strat too. Yeah, if something goes wrong, maybe you realize, oh no, I didn't store my jump slash, or you heck up getting on the platform. Yeah, you can do like a little bit of damage to her, but hold off until the next cycle. Because, yeah, that's what triggers changing the elements.
And of course, that was 3 dungeons, so we just need 2 more. We're getting there.
Hopefully fire is semi-quick. And then our last one is going to be Shadow, which we've gotten through a chunk of Shadow, unfortunately, because we don't have Frora's Wind, and we weren't able to get far enough into Shadow to open the shortcut. We have to trudge all the way through it again, but
yeah, we also didn't even have magic until very recently, so.
Yeah, we wouldn't have, even if we had Frora's Wind, we wouldn't have been able to plant it there, so. It do be like that.
It's interesting that this seed, if you'd taken the other path, would have actually been rather fast. Because you got a lot of good tools early, and then the other stuff sort of fell into place in the path you didn't take, which we've talked about that a lot, where sometimes you have to choose 1 of 2 directions and then hope you pick the right one.
Yeah, the seed would have felt a lot more what we call a jet seed. If I had gone into bottom of the well when I thought about going into bottom of the well.
There's something I'm using about Fire Temple being an ice cavern.
Yeah. I've also had where Ice Cavern is in where Fire Temple is, so I've seen that side a lot too.
Have you ever gotten the two-way connection there where they're each other?
Yes, yeah, I have actually. All right, we don't have any fairies, but we should be good enough on health to climb up here.
Yeah, we've got a lot more health now.
Yeah, we got a minute. So last time we were in here with 5 hearts, we had 33 seconds. We didn't have full health, but we were in here with 33 seconds. For now, we have almost a minute and a half.
Yeah, we're almost triple what we had before. And you have the hook shot to make this climb faster now.
So there's that. I will be grabbing for the boss fight here. Oops, that was a bad angle. I will be grabbing for the boss fight, at least a fairy. But
you know, we haven't
just for
mentioned
safety.
it much. I said we haven't mentioned it much, but the color of Navi also gets randomized. Not like this color we have.
There's also, I haven't, your trail from your sword, you can see it there. That's randomized as well, those colors.
That kind of works with the color scheme you've got going.
Mm-hmm. It all coordinates too. It's really neat. All right. All right, so if the game is nice, it will put the boss key on the check that we had to abandon. No, that will be a key. That will for sure be a small key for progression. I don't know. Hopefully it's not deep in here. Hopefully we get the boss key pretty quickly. Well, this is another dungeon I kind of talked about earlier where you can maybe take a risk and go into Water Temple. This is another one. You could maybe say, I got my hammer. Let's go see if we get the boss key early in Fire Temple.
Mm-hmm.
So you could get that right. Sometimes you get that boss key right next to the boss door in that first check. Other times it's like this and you're just going deeper and deeper into Fire Temple and be like that. Oh!
Hey, speaking of which.
Oh, okay, yeah, so that's right. So that means that Volvagia will drop a small key, and that's how you're supposed to progress up deeper into Fire Temple.
So somebody asked this question.
I forgot to mention that little caveat, but
somebody asked this question earlier. For these randomizer settings, is it set so that you can always check every location? Or can there be situations where like a whole section of the dungeon just isn't accessible through logic?
So there is a setting, basically that controls that. Kind of the default is to play where all locations are accessible. That's the setting. But you can turn that off and it can block you from, it can block you from checking certain checks, but you won't ever be lacking any of our like progression items. Oh. There we go. All right, so hopefully we'll be able to do this quickly. There's a Volvagia, for those of you who haven't seen this, Volvagia acts in a very interesting way. So Volvagia has 2 different hitboxes, which has to do with the flying around mechanic here. So whenever Volvagia enters a hole, she has a hitbox in that hole, and you can use bombs to kind of take advantage of that. It's kind of finicky if you hit her hitbox or not, but that's a way to hit that. So we're going to use bomb juice here to try to hit it, and we'll hear Volvagia noises if it's successful. I definitely need a hammer here. We'll do that. We'll go back to the hole. We had a few there, and then didn't have the right rhythm.
This thing you're doing with your
yeah.
bomb shoes, I don't think we mentioned that. You're detonating your bomb shoes with the Deku nut right over the hole.
Yes. Yeah, so there's like a certain spot you need to explode it. And if you're off, you don't get the hit. So we got like, I think 4 hits there, if I counted correctly. And unfortunately, that wasn't enough to get the 1 cycle, but we'll be able to 2 cycle here.
It's also just faster than using regular bombs because you can detonate them instantly instead of like waiting on the timer.
Which, for those of you who don't remember, if you're playing, so if you're not utilizing that, with Big Goron Sword, it's normally a 3 cycle. With the Master Sword, this fight's actually a 4 cycle. And all that time with Volvagia flying around, that is a lot of time lost, each of those sections. So
yeah,
a really, really good strat to learn if you're starting to get into like, you want to race this game or, you know, anything like that.
So
or just
4.
go faster. All right, so that 4 dungeons. Our last one is in GTG. So we're gonna do that reverse wasteland again. Time of day is a little. Be fine. Yeah, 'cause we just woke up. We just woke up. We beat Volvagia, so I forgot it changes the time of day. So yeah, we're going to ahead do this reverse wasteland one more time. My other option would have been to just play Serenade and go over to Lake Hylia and use Epona from there. I want to say this is a bit faster as long as we don't fail it a bunch, which I'm pretty consistent at doing this, so that shouldn't be an issue, but
Fire Temple and Ice Cavern with the water medallion. Good catch.
Yep.
I didn't notice that.
I mean, that's, fire and ice is water.
Yeah.
Oh,
that
it
makes
checks
sense.
out. Checks out. All right, that's the easy part, or the difficult part. So now we're on the easy part. I also do want to note for anyone who's watching and maybe interested in learning, tricks like this, or any of the tricks in general, are never something you're expected to know how to do. They're just kind of nice tools to have if you know them, but definitely don't let stuff like Reverse Wasteland or even like round jumps deter you from trying this out if you're interested. The great thing about Ocarina of Time Randomizer is it's super, super customizable. You can turn off certain checks, like we had turned off tonight, 40 and 50 Skulltulas. So if you don't want to deal with those, you can turn them off. If I know something that a lot of people hate is horseback archery. That 1500 horseback archery game is not the easiest if you don't know how to do it. You can turn that off too. And you can change the requirements. Like today I'm doing 5 dungeon, you could turn it down to 3 dungeons. You wanted to, do something a little bit lower requirement. Could be like back walking here. Let me rearrange my items a little bit. I'm actually going to put on the Lens of Truth because there is that invisible platform that if you were watching earlier, it can trip you up because it moves, and although you can do it without the lens, good to see where it is so you don't heck up and have to go through all this again.
I love the rapid barks.
Yep.
It's so
And
good.
we're gonna get a lot of those now. All right. Oh, whoa. Okay.
Especially when it's right after the Navi weep. Weep.
You can. What about Mweep shoes? Have you? Those are a treat too.
For footsteps or?
Yeah, you can get
yes.
weeping boots. Weeping boots. All right, I'll go ahead and check this out because this is I kind of mentioned this earlier. This dungeon is a bit more linear, where you need all the small keys to get through. Where you're kind of check out everything. Hopefully we can avoid the room in the back, but I'm actually not sure if we picked up the boss key for this dungeon. Hello? All right. That was just a purple rupee. So here you need a long shot to hit that, but if you jump on top of the chest, you no longer need a long shot. Gives you enough height. Wait for the fans. This is another room where if I had iron boots, this would be a lot simpler, but unfortunately, we do not have irons. I am glad we got to avoid Forest Temple at the very least today.
Yeah. The meme of it's you always have to go to Forest Temple
Yeah.
was not true this time.
I even said that earlier, because the reality is, within a run, you're probably going to get your Forest Temple items, because you, as I said, you always need bow to win. You're going to get a strength upgrade at some point. Strength locks so many things, so many dungeons. You're going to get a strength. And for especially this 5 dungeon entrance rando, you're going to get a hook shot, because as we saw, hook shot locks so much in this. Once you have all those things, you're probably beating Forest Temple.
No, we already know that Forest Temple was barren from the start of the seed.
Yes.
For the jokes about that in chat. So that's why the jokes about Forest Temple always being required came from, because it's like, well, even though we know it's barren, sometimes the seed makes it the choice for your 5th dungeon.
Unfortunately, we still need 1 small key, so we have to go
Oh, we gotta ride the boat.
the bathroom. I'm gonna have to look in my menu and see if I have the boss key or not.
I don't think we do.
I don't think I do either. It's been a while. We've been here.
Yeah, perfectly reasonable to double check. I always find it funny when people show off the place you can stand on the back of the boat where they can't get to you.
I'd actually hadn't known about that until Ocarina Improv, and that was hysterical. I don't even know. I tried it on my stream, and I don't know where you're supposed to stand to make that work. I wasn't able to make that work on my stream, but... All right, yeah, we don't have the boss key. I just had to get Din's Fire anyways for the next 2 checks, so...
Opening the menu anyway. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. So unfortunately, Shadow didn't let us skip this back area, which is just kind of with Shadow Temple, it's like whether or not you get the good key logic or key layout.
Something amusing about Navi yelling, "Hotfix, the boat is sinking," after the scene we've had today.
Yep. The boat surely is sinking. Well, we're almost done. We are so close. Just gotta get the keys for Bongo Bongo here, coming up soon, and then run up Ganon's castle and get the pig. There's our boss key.
Hey!
We do need one more small key, though, because for some reason, they put another small key lock. There we go. No manager today. There is one more check back here, for those of you who don't know. It's just guarded by a floor master, and we lovingly call that floor master the manager. He's in his back office. And sometimes you gotta visit the manager's office to speak with the manager and get your last key.
So did you get a spoiler log? Because I'm very curious where Greg is, because there's a high chance we will finish without seeing Greg.
I do have a spoiler log, yes. We can
we'll
pop that open here at the end, because we shouldn't be seeing. Not planning to check any more checks here, but we can definitely pull that up.
I mean, Greg could be in the validation chest.
Greg could be in the validation chest. That's the last thing we'll potentially open, but I would be curious too where our maybe our other hook shot was, or
yeah.
You know.
Because I mean, we were definitely going to bottom of the well.
Yep.
Had our lights.
I haven't seen a hook shot anywhere else, so.
Greg is the green rupee of eternal glory, greatness.
I think
it's the single green rupee in the randomized item pool.
I don't know what you look up for Greg though.
Fair.
Oh, I don't even have. Oh, okay. No. Unfortunately, the spoiler log that was sent to me is not. It's like cosmetic stuff. It's not even the. So I don't have a spoiler log. So we just will never know.
Oh no.
Wait. Oh wait. I found it. I'm silly. I'm silly. I scared you. I scared you, chat.
Rupee parentheses 1. Something like that. I don't know. If we can't find it, we can't find it. But we're curious.
Yeah, I don't know what it's called in here. I'm just getting. It's not like I can search in the spoiler log for Greg.
Yeah, I mean, you should be able to. That would be a fantastic change.
And if I type in rupee, there's going to be a lot of other things. But also I found out that typing green is not helpful either.
Does it note the value after each rupee? Like if you search rupee, does it say that? Because maybe then you could search for the value. If it's like in a parentheses or something.
A lot of ones in here too.
Yeah.
I surprisingly, I've never searched a spoiler log for
Greg.
Believe it or not.
Greg has a habit of showing up in your seats.
Hello? I am trying to look for Greg while doing this, and it's not going well, chat. I just want you to know that I'm doing this for you. All right, I see. If I do parentheses 1, it should work out. Okay. One stick. I'm just kidding. One stick.
Okay.
Ganon's Castle, Spirit Trial Crystal Switch Chest.
Oh, so
it's in here, but
it's in here. Okay.
But not in the spot where we will be going.
Not in the validation chest, sadly.
No.
I feel like Greg being in the validation chest is always fun.
Yeah, Greg was just unfortunately today in a spot that we were never gonna go ever. I'm still waiting. I keep saying I'm waiting for the seed where my light arrows are in the validation chest. I've done many seeds and that has still not been the case.
Yeah, I guess
but
that technically works within logic. It's just you're probably not coming here without your light arrows usually.
Yeah. But that again, Ganon does give you your hint, and if you don't have your light arrows by the time you can get up here, that's gonna be your priority, so.
Could you imagine if you skipped the validation chest for whatever reason? And then Ganon's like, it's there.
It literally was right here, like, what are you doing?
Why'd you walk past it? What the heck?
All right, I'm curious where...
Someone in chat's asking what the validation check is. That's a common term in randomizers for a lot of games. There's one check near the end of the game once you're basically done with everything. It exists in this game. There's a chest when you're here in the tower. It's right in one of the required rooms. It exists in Link to the Past Randomizer as well in Ganon's Tower. So if there's ever a randomized check right at the end of the game that you're almost always seeing once you're in go mode, that's usually called the validation check in randomizers.
My item set up for this fight here. Now let's go.
It's a joke about how, if you don't open the chest, it's not a valid run kind of thing.
All right, our other hook shot was in the light trial in Ganon's Castle. So,
Really?
Yep.
Amazing.
So bottom of the well was definitely required here today. Ganon? Gandorf? Okay.
I like the no music Ganon.
That you were not supposed to do that. So for those of you who are not familiar with this fight here, we get on the middle platform here, and it's supposed to be when you're close to Ganon, it's supposed to make the tennis like kind of non-existent. Okay, this is not good.
There's a certain distance where he's not supposed to hit it back.
Yeah. He somehow became very powerful tonight. I think it's the fact that there's no music right now. Are you kidding me? Weird. This is very embarrassing.
It's been a long day.
It's been a long day. A reminder, your girl has been streaming since like 12 hours ago at this point.
I think you said 12 hours ago, over an hour ago.
Oh, well, yeah.
And of course, Nukes used the bottle to hit back the ball. Mm-hmm. Because that's a thing you can do. It's technically slightly easier. Gives you a few more active frames to hit it back.
Yes.
Only a couple.
Yeah, but it genuinely does make it a lot easier. And all right, so we're gonna store that jump slash with the Master Sword, because everything does, I believe everything does 1 damage on Ganon here, except for the Master Sword. So getting that jump slash stored now before we get the sword hit away is gonna give us a lot more damage here when we're not supposed to have that level of damage. I'm not liking the quiet here.
It's so weird.
It's very weird.
It's disconcerting almost.
This is not the vibe I want.
You talk about how you kind of tune it out, but the lack of music is almost more strange.
Yes. Yeah, this is where I don't really block it out, because it's no, it's not.
It's
okay.
also one of those things where, like, maybe you don't notice, and then I notice it, and then I mention it, and you're like, oh no, why did you say something?
This has been a weird time. I do want to thank all of y'all who have stuck around during this and cheered on both the bad and good RNG tonight. Because that's the value at the end of the day of these randomizer seeds. It's just you never know what you're gonna get, and that's what makes them super, super fun. You don't ever want them to just be, easy peasy lemon squeezy. Sometimes you gotta work for it. I'm okay with that. That's why I do this. All right, coming up on the final hit. That will be our time here. And GG. Oh.
Well, we still came in under estimate.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Well, what's the time? I usually run a timer, and I
just
didn't
under
today.
316.
All right, here we go. Bad. Would have been a lot. That's the problem with these, and estimates are weird with them, because if we had gone well, this would have gone a lot more well-er.
Well, I mean, it is the second show, so it's not like we would be wrecking the schedule or anything. But I think that's a point where we should wrap up and let Nukes get some sleep.
Yes.
You definitely deserve it at this point. Thanks again so much for coming on the show. We've plugged Nukes a lot, but you should definitely go give her a follow, twitch.tv/nuclear_reaction. And of course, you can check out both of her shows here on Hotfix. No Category Left Behind, which was before this one. You can catch the VOD on YouTube if you missed it. And later this week, Ocarina Improv, starting at around 10 p.m. Eastern this Friday. Do you have any other?
I also have a new show coming up next week on Thursday called the Victory Lap, where we will be taking runs that have been recently world records or PBs for runners. We'll be replaying the run and kind of analyzing it and kind of breaking it down and seeing, like, what are things that went well, what are things that could be improved on, which I think is a very valuable thing to do with your speed runs if you want to improve on them. So.
Oh yeah. Especially if you're pushing for a big barrier, analyzing your runs and, like, things you did well and not well can be really helpful. But do you have any other shout-outs before we wrap things up?
I mean, that really covers it. Again, if you really enjoyed this, definitely check out Ocarina Improv on Friday. Come stop by my stream. This is my main content. I love doing this. I'll be happy to answer any questions. Though right now, going on for the month of March, I am doing a special event called Girls Night In with Skybills, who's another Hotfix showrunner, where we are just playing through a lot of mostly retro Nintendo games and racing each other in them, and it's a lot of fun, and definitely welcome you to check that out as well.
All right, thanks so much for coming on, Nukes. We're going to wrap things up here for tonight. So thanks everybody who tuned in and hung out, whether it's all night just for this show or partway through. Make sure you tune in tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern, for more Hotfix. We've got content pretty much every night of the week, starting at 7 p.m. Eastern weekdays, 1 p.m. on weekends. So thank you all so much. We're going to go to a quick break, and they're going to raid somebody. So if you'd like to stick around and cheer on somebody who's speedrunning, stick around for a few minutes. We'll send you their direction, and you can wish them good luck on their speedruns tonight.